Hello and happy Tuesday. It's time for another top five. Yes, we are quite late tonight. That is due to a myriad of reasons. Both me and we had a couple of issues with guests. So we decided we're going to start late. So, how are you doing tonight, Jason?
Yeah. Little in panic mode, just sitting here. I'm like, okay, I have two. Maybe I can go. Do I go? Do I not go? I can go. Let's wait. But yeah, no, we're here. And then the other problem is I have two lists that I made because I have no idea which list to use because I took spooky movies as two different ways. I chose spooky movies as like scary movies that do I want to watch over and over again, or do I choose spooky movies and hey, these movies actually scare the crap out of me? I really don't want to watch them. So I have two lists that are sitting in front of me as well. So
Interesting. I can't wait to hear it. So, yeah, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to make it within like the first hour, but I was able to get home about 20 minutes ago and I had some stuff to take care of. So, um yeah, so before that, yeah, we had unfortunately Carl will not be joining us. He had something come up last minute and he's not going to be able to join us. So, it was just going to be Jason and our other guest here, but I got home close enough to start time. So, and that is our good buddy Fractured Filter. What's up, Filter?
Oh, not a whole lot. Looking forward to throwing out some lists here, and I'm glad I could be the dependable one.
Yeah, you got to go rub it in Carl's face.
I had to do it a little bit.
Yeah. So glad you're able to make it here for another
Boris,
episode
happy
of
to
Top
be here.
Five, two in a
Happy to
row.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for joining us. And
Of course.
yeah. So, did you have how was it picking your top five? Did you have a lot of trouble? Was it pretty easy? Do you have two different lists?
No, I do not have two different lists. I just went right off of the sort of kind of movies I do enjoy watching, and like it is, I will be. Mine will mostly be kind of like horror comedies.
Okay.
That's just the sort of thing I dig. I like dark humor when it does come up and everything, and some people just completely losing their stuff while in a stressful situation, but they make it funny. So I dig that sort of thing. But I do have a couple of things that are probably considered more horror, so I'm looking forward to throwing them out and seeing if I have a feeling one of them will potentially be a repeat for some other people, but one of them I'm kind of curious about. So looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah. I think my list will be somewhat similar to yours because as you guys know from our last stream, I don't typically do spooky. So for me, spooky doesn't necessarily have to be scary, just something very, in the vein of Halloween.
Yeah.
If it has some, if it has like vampires or werewolves or zombies, that definitely qualifies in my book.
Right. Yeah.
Slasher movies definitely, even though some of them aren't actually scary. So that's gonna
That was some of
populate
the
my
stuff. Even
list.
my brother was like, he saw how I had the separate window up for, so I could just like see the chat and everything, and I can chat. He's like, he started going into like the specifics of spooky versus horror versus. So we were kind of going into it a little bit too. It's like,
So
what are all the qualifiers? And my brother's even like, Saw and stuff. He doesn't see it as really like horror and it was funny.
yeah, well, I would say I haven't watched Saw, but I would definitely say it qualifies for spooky, and I would put it in the subcategory of body horror.
Right. I just look at it as torture porn.
Yeah. I remember when that when that movie came out, my stepsister was watching it and I out in the family room and I came out to get something to eat and she was watching and I saw a guy sawing his own foot off and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
never
yeah,
watching this movie or any in this franchise. So that was
yeah.
enough. That's all I've seen of Saw to like literally 3 seconds. I'm like, I'm not watching these movies. I've heard that the first one is pretty good, but I'm gonna have to take people's word for it.
It's like another again with those situations where then they just become sequelitis and they just keep doing they have to keep trying to do new. And it's like, all right, you can settle down just a little bit, please. Not everything needs to be the next Friday the 13th or Halloween or whatever.
Yeah, they got to keep one upping themselves. So, Is that in chat, the Chuck Jose channel? Is that your brother? I'll take that as a no. So I thought you said that your brother was in chat, so I figured that was your brother. If
No. We were talking beforehand.
okay.
We were talking-
Well, hello, Chuck Jose channel. I don't believe I've seen you before, so welcome. Saying I watched Child's Play in '88 and Poltergeist in '82 earlier. Great films. I didn't
Child's
realize
Play are
Child's
fun.
Play was that old. Child's Play was from '88.
I didn't realize that either, but it makes
Wow.
sense. It makes sense.
So, and we got to Meteor Advocate Timon's in chat as well, saying, "Hey,
Howdy,
what's up,
Timon.
Timon? Good to see you tonight, buddy." And Chuck Jose is saying, "I first watched Shining back in 2015. I've never seen it. Oh wait, no, The Shining. I was thinking of a different movie. I've seen about the second half of The Shining. I never saw the whole thing.
Yeah, I haven't watched it myself. I've watched like people doing their own little like the movie essays and all the little messaging and all the little stuff inside The Shining and compare. Because I like compare. I like finding out comparisons between the books and the movies and stuff like that. So those have also been kind of interesting. So there's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that movie has crazy like conspiracy theories and stuff.
Yeah, they get wild. They get wild, dark, and wild. It's like, wow.
Yeah, Shining's like one of the movies that if you've seen it, you've seen it a bunch of times. But if you haven't seen the movie, you've seen the movie because you've seen pretty much all the main things. Put it all together, and you've seen the movie. Yeah.
Well, and then you have like different versions too. You have the movie, of course, from what was it, Stanley Kubrick, and then you have the made-for-TV version, and then I think there was another. But then, of course, you have the book, and it's like, which is the more accurate adaptation? It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I know probably more about the behind the scenes of that movie than I do the actual movie itself.
Right. I mean, that's all the stuff that fulfill that.
Like the whole Shelley Duvall 127 takes.
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's like that's nuts.
Everything.
Oh, yeah, Chuck was saying, I'm new to chat saying hi. Well, welcome. We're about to rank our top 5 favorite spooky movies. Whatever spooky means to you, it's kind of very open to interpretation. And dude's over on Rumble saying howdy. Good evening, dude. He messaged me while we were backstage saying late and gay. Yes, I know.
We have a reason this time, though. This is not just we forgot to hit a button. Like, this is us scrambling.
Yeah, it was a lot of chickens running around with their heads cut off before start time. So,
as a proper stream should be.
Yeah. Oh, and Timon is saying my childhood scariest movie scene is the pond scene in Enemy Mine. It haunted me for weeks. I've never even heard of that movie.
Yeah, neither have I.
So I'm wondering if that was that a Brazil only movie? I've never even heard of it. So all right. Well, we'll go ahead and get on into ranking our top 5s. Let's say 9 minutes. So, Jason, I believe it is customary for you to start us off.
Yeah, this is going to be the hard one for me. So, as I was in backstage, I was trying to figure out which list I should use. So I'm probably going to use my favorite movies. So this isn't going to be, so I chose, like I said, one list is movies that I consider like I would not want to watch again because they actually kind of spook and scare me kind of thing, but they're not my favorite. So like for me to put this on there, it'd be like, hey, these are the 5 movies that like I'm not the biggest fan of, but they actually scare the crap out of me. So that's why they're the top 5. Then my other list is my actual top 5 horror movies or spooky movies that I'd be like, hey, if these movies were on, I'm going to watch all of it, or I will go out of my way to watch it. So
that's what I would do.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out which one I would want to. So I don't know if chat wants me to go with the top 5 that actually scare me or the top 5 that I would actually go out of my way to watch. So if anybody in chat wants to hear which list they'd like to see or hear, if they want to post anything in chat, I can do that real quick.
Because we could save top 5 scariest movies for a future one. Maybe, if we're still doing this in a year from now, do it next October. Or, since it sounds like Filter and I both have maybe some more lighthearted spooky movies, maybe it would be good to have you kind of round us out with having some actually scary movies.
That's what I'm like. That's what I'm trying to debate on which ones I should go, because, like I said, I can give
Everything
either
counts.
list. Yeah, I can give either list. It's totally fine with me, because the 5 that I have, or the 10 movies that I have, if you watch them, you're 5. I think you'll have a good time watching. 5, you probably already watched. You're like, I really don't want to watch those again.
So while you're deciding, due to saying that, I'm not the biggest horror movie fan. Neither am I. Mainly because I'd be yelling at the dumb teenagers, "Get back in the car and drive away!"
Yeah, it's mostly like it turns into whole like MST3K sort of thing where you're just riffing on the movie itself. You're like, how could you be this stupid?
I remember at a Halloween party, probably around like 2010-ish. We're having having a Halloween party at my place. Like I said, I don't really do these type of stuff typically. And my roommate put on the original Halloween. I've never seen. I've seen one Halloween movie, and I think it was probably that Halloween, is not that Halloween like that Halloween movie, but it was that Halloween season. I probably watched the one and only Halloween movie I've seen. I think it was one that's considered really bad. I want to say it was Halloween H2O, but I don't even know which Halloween it was. But I just remember that he turned on the original Halloween, just have it on while we are having our Halloween party, and everyone was mocking it because of how like terrible it is. It's like, this is like a cornerstone of horror movies, and he got all pissed off that people were ragging on it, so he turned it off and changed it to something else.
Oh man, the original Halloween where Jamie Lee Curtis thinks she's safe from Michael, and then you just see him in the background as she's like gasp or like kind of taking a breath, and then he just sits up and you just see it from behind her. Yeah, you're like, shit. That's so good. All right, so I guess we have our choice, Rocker Dude in chat.
Yeah, Rocker Dude's here saying.
So yeah, he said the one that actually scares me. Okay,
all right.
And so, I would concur with that, since I think Filter and I are gonna have a little bit more lighthearted. It'd be great to have someone have a list of actually scary movies.
Sure. All right. So yeah, so my number 5. This is probably the only one on this 5 list that I've seen multiple times. But still, every time I watch, I'm like, why am I watching this when there's no reason why I should? It's pretty scary, but it is considerably one of the best horror movies or scary movies or whatever you want to call it of all time. But my number 5 is going to be The Exorcist.
I knew you were going to say that, and that's the movie I was thinking of a few minutes ago when I said I haven't seen it. When I was talking, when we were talking about The Shining, it's like, no, I've seen half of Shining. I've never seen The Exorcist, and I never will. Yeah,
so this one is out of all the top 5 that I will kind of go out of my state. I mean, I've seen the theater 3-4 times when they did when they just re-release it, and then they had the re-release back in the 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember when they had like a director's cut where they added a couple extra scenes and everything. I forgot when they did that one though, but yeah, I definitely seen it then. But yeah, no, what they do to scare you with that stuff, being the possession, having the cross being, being, put in a certain spot, being stabbed in that area. That's, I want to keep this as PG-ish as I possibly can. Her taking a big, just, number 1 on the floor, and, the only way that
an Amber Heard.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it's the spoiler. The only way that the ending could go is, one of the priests had to die, and then the other one had to pretty much coax the thing into him, and then he had to jump out the window to kill himself just to save her, kind of thing. So, I mean, there's just so many weird things in there, and then obviously with everybody in the cast, there's the stories that everybody kind of got sick, got messed up because of the making of the movie.
Oh, interesting. I did not know. We're talking about The Exorcist from 1973. Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize, I know the name of The Exorcist, obviously, but I've never seen it, never will. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, it's really old. Yeah.
But it's a horror classic. It's like a horror.
I mean, you watch it, and it has everything that like a horror movie should, or a spooky movie should. Like, you watch it and you're like, okay, it's I can't say real life scary is always things that kind of scare me the most, because yes, it can happen. It can happen, but the way they treat how she is, like she knows at some
Yeah.
points that she's like, why am I doing this? I can't be. Why I shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. And then next, you can see like the family being this way, and then the only way around it is like, yeah, you have to, do an exorcism, and it's just insane what everything sets up to be. And then the one thing, I think it was only in the director's cut because I don't remember being the original, but when she does this crab walk down the stairs, holy crap! The first time I saw that in the theater, I jumped just because I'm seeing watching the movie. I'm like, all right, I've seen it. I'm like desensitized to it. I'm like, okay, I can watch this. And the next, it's just like a big cut, and she's just doing a spider crab walk down the stairs up and down really fast. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, what else are they going to be adding to it? So like, and that was in the director's cut version of it when they re-released it.
That was stuff they removed for time or something like that. Or
Yeah,
because maybe test audience found it too scary, so it's like, oh hey, guess what? You get to see now.
Oh yeah, they said they added some insane visuals to it too. I mean, like it is a classic for a reason, and it's definitely a movie that if it's on, I'm like, I'm good. But I mean, I out of all the movies that I have on here, it is the one that I've seen the most, so that's why I think I put it number 5. It's probably the best movie out of these 5 that I have, but again, I put it as 5-1, and like, hey, these movies actually scare me, and number 1 is the one that I've seen once, and I'm good.
All right, good stuff. So, all right, well, I think I'm gonna go next so that Filter can close our number 5s with probably a better choice than mine. So, I'm gonna have I do. I think a couple of mine people will all agree are spooky movies. I think most of mine people may disagree. So I may have a very contentious, I don't know if that's the right word, list. But for number 5, I put one that I've grown to love this movie, but when I first saw it as a kid, it terrified me. These aliens scared the crap out of me.
Oh, aliens. Okay.
But I really like this movie now. Although it's really more of an action movie than it is a horror movie. But because it scared the crap out of me when I was younger, I said this qualifies for me as a spooky movie. And you may have thought I was going to say Alien or Aliens, especially when I said an action movie. But no, for me, it is the movie that has the namesake of my birthday, and that's Independence Day.
Oh, wait, really? That movie scared
Those
you?
aliens scared the crap out of me when I was younger.
Well, especially like the possession scene when the scientist guy gets the tentacle wrapped around his throat.
Yes,
using him to communicate. I can see that as that was a bit of a spooky moment, especially when they first come into the room and the light. It's like a light show going on practically. It's
yeah,
it went all like crazy with
steam or whatever.
Everywhere. It fogged up the whole room.
Overall spooky movie, but there are definitely some spooky scenes in it, and those aliens scared me when I was younger. But I've come to love that movie. So because it's definitely more of an action movie than it is a spooky movie, I wanted to put it down on the list. It's out of my top 5. This is probably my favorite one on the list, but because it's very low on the spooky scale, I put it down at the bottom.
Right.
So I know people may get on me for my takes. You can boo me all you want. I will take your boos on what movies do and don't qualify in your book. I'm not here to argue that. Like I said, I typically don't do spooky movies, so mine are going to be very lighthearted or barely qualify as spooky. So I'm not claiming that these are like real spooky movies. They're just my list. So. But yeah, and I also, not that it's good, but I also really enjoy the second one. I know everyone hates it.
I have not seen the second one. I have refused to see it. I know the first one. I know it's enjoyable. It's a fun popcorn flick. And I was just gonna add to like that again, that same scene. They do have that jump scare where again, like the guy's face just suddenly gets slapped against the window.
Oh yeah, and they think it's him, but then they notice that
they notice the thing around his neck. Yeah.
And I remember, is this glass bulletproof? No, sir.
No, sir.
They waste it. And that movie has one of the greatest speeches of all time. But yeah. So We got Amon Ra is here saying moo. What's up, Amon Ra? Good to see you tonight, buddy. And then follow that up with Timon saying boo. I know.
Second time. You got a second one in there too. He's got a second one.
Second one. Boo. I get
Boo
it.
this man.
Boo. If I had the clip, I would play that for myself. I don't have clips. I really should get some clips. But I don't have clips. But I will not argue with you, Timon. I will agree with you. Boo this man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say if Halloween Town is on your list, we might have to just like not put any other things on there or something.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Disney. It was a made for Disney like
kids movie.
Scary. Yeah, it was one of those things. It's when you said like all that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna say Halloween Town.
I will give you a little bit of a heads up. Nightmare Before Christmas is not on my list.
Okay.
So, dude saying, I don't hate the Independence Day sequel. I'm dealing with booze in my gaming streams right now. Luigi's Mansion. Oh, he's streaming Luigi Mansion. He's got lots of booze chasing
lots
him.
of the booze. Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it probably doesn't qualify in most people's book. It definitely wouldn't qualify it if I saw it for the first time now. But I saw it when it was new-ish in the 90s. I don't think I saw it when it was brand new, but I probably still saw it in the 90s. So I was
when it was on rental VHS and everything.
Yeah, so I was either still single digits age or maybe just barely double digits. So I was young, and yeah, those aliens. Heck, E.T. scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. He was like a friendly level alien. This is a little bit more advanced than that. So yeah, I'm definitely not defending how spooky or scary these movies are. I fully have the qualifier that this is my list, and I know it will probably get a lot of boos, and I'm okay with that.
Did we just aliens scare you, Neo? Is that maybe that we were just breaking that thing down?
Aliens in general?
Yeah.
Well, Alien, the first one, was definitely the scariest movie I had ever seen for possibly ever. That's not on my list because it's so scary. I saw it once, and I don't ever want to see it again.
I mean, that should be I mean, that's what my list is. So I mean, yeah.
I'm not doing scary movies, though. I'm doing spooky movies that I actually like.
Okay, so you're doing my other list.
Yes. So I'm hoping that Filter can take the heat off me a little bit and have a number 5 that's a little bit better in the spooky category.
Okay. So yeah, mine does hit that horror comedy vibe as a cult classic for sure. And I remember seeing it as a kid. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but there's also there's the aspect to it that really just kind of freaked me out, because if you weren't on pavement, you were in danger.
Oh,
that is Tremors.
Heck yeah!
I've still never seen this one, but I'm sure.
It's worth it. Like it's definitely a little more leaning on like the kind of comedy action side, but the horror aspect is especially just so because they do a really good job building up too, because they do the whole like they're finding a car buried in the dirt, they're finding a bunch of sheep massacred, a decapitated head, missing construction workers and stuff like that. Like they just build so.
Sorry to derail you, Filter. But yeah, I was saying when I was a little kid, E.T. scared me. Not anymore, but yeah, when I was a kid, it was essentially an alien kids movie. So, and it's scary. So sorry to derail you.
No, you're fine. But yeah, like I mean, I think I agree with Timon. Tremors it is super fun. But like I said, it's just that aspect of this of like you could be on loose dirt, sand, or whatever, and it's like this idea that there are these giant freaking man-eating worms that they took inspiration from like a Chinese worm or something like that. There's supposed to be some like real life inspiration behind them. I remember looking into, but like just this idea of these monstrous worms that could just gobble you up right from underneath your feet unless you are on a giant, secure boulder above pavement, stuff that they cannot break through easily. It was just like, because where I used to live too, especially, I used to have a really big field outside of our house. So this idea of like I could step out of my house and it just gets sucked into the ground by one of these things is like, oh my god. But
So we got James is in chat. What's up, James?
Yeah.
Good evening, buddy. Says he has a friend who has a Reba fetish because of is that like
Yeah.
Reba McEntire? Is she in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Okay.
plays the wife to Burt Gummer, who are they're both are these turbo preppers, and they are just
Okay.
they're ready for it. They're like ready for anything. And
Doomsdayers.
yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
do almost yeah. It like it's funny. It's like not until I've gotten older that Burt, when he has this little speech in the little little kind of convenience store or whatever that the whole town goes to, basically, because it's like a very tiny town. But Bert is just like, you know, he just says, because they found this college student that's doing the seismograph stuff, searching for earthquakes and stuff like that. But he's just like, you know what, any one of these college kids coming out here, dig up oil, uranium, next thing you know, you got the feds knocking on your door saying, sorry, time to pack up, eminent domain. And so as a kid, I never quite appreciated that line until I've gotten older. I'm like, motherfucker, I get it now. But no, there's just a lot of great stuff in the movie. And Val and Earl,
Yeah,
oh
Trevor's
God,
the movie Anakin has nightmares about.
yes.
All the sand it gets everywhere.
It brings a whole new meaning to it.
Yeah.
Trevor's like, but if land sharks. Yeah, exactly. But no, Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward are fantastic leads in the movie for sure. They have a great like chemistry for the two of them. You do see them as being just really good, the two best of buds, doing the handyman work that they do, but they get wrapped up, and as they're just trying to leave town and go on to maybe some bigger, better things, these dang worms come along and just mess everything up. And as we were talking about, you know, escalation of movies and unnecessariness of it all, it's just like Tremors kind of hit that too. They made 2, which
How many Tremors movies are there now? There's a ton, aren't there?
7 or 8.
Yeah,
it's like that.
It's like the proto Sharknado series.
And then they had a TV series. And then they tried to do another like web series with Kevin Bacon coming back, but that was like so well after the fact. And I mean, all props to him for oh god, I forget the actor's name, but the guy that played Bert, he stayed through basically all the freaking movies. After, especially after 2 and everything, when Fred Ward didn't come back after 2, so he was the mainstay. He kept hunting.
I think it was the 3rd one, but I don't blame Fred Ward for not coming back when they're like, hey, they had a respawn of these things that you were afraid of in the first one, and they're called ass blasters. Like,
yeah, that was like I cut it off at 2. Like I'll watch
1 and 2 are fine.
1 and 2 are fine, but I don't go beyond that. My mom used to enjoy all of them just because they're just, you know, they're just dumb fun at the end of the day. But yeah, when they started introducing the ass blasters, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I'll just stick with 2, because even 2 as kind of like a honorary, like the scene where the graboid is essentially like giving birth, but what's happening is heat. The heat what they end up calling heat seekers are eating it from the inside out. And the sound that they gave the graboid, the noise that it makes is just I remember it freaking me out because it is just such a eerie sound as it's getting eaten alive, essentially. It is like, oh my god. And but yeah, Tremors is on. I mean, this is a funny thing. Like some of these like probably 5 to 3 are not in a particular order, but I feel like starting with Tremors is a good spot to start with. So yeah.
So a couple dude saying a couple things. Going back to the ET thing, he says that the ET Atari game has horrendous design. That's scary.
I mean, facts. Yeah,
facts. And regarding Tremor, he said eminent domain is the most evil thing in the movie, just like taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't argue with that. So, and Christian's here. Good evening, Christian. Good to see you as always. I like Saw 1, A Halloween, Scream, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Slither, Evil Dead, The Grudge, and Dawn of the Dead. So, I have seen 2 of those movies.
I've seen I've seen all of them but Saw, Slither, and The Grudge. I believe I've seen. I don't know. Oh, maybe I don't know about Dawn of the Dead 2004. But I've seen a lot of those other ones.
So, and Carl's coming in with his top 5.
What are you doing? Get in here.
So yeah, unfortunately, he couldn't be on the panel, but he wanted to hop in with his top 5.
You need boomer problems.
It's number 5, Hocus Pocus. Number 4, Jurassic Park. I was considering putting Jurassic Park on there because that scared me as a kid too, and I've come to love that movie, but I left it off. 3, Night Before Christmas. 2, Evil Dead 2, and number 1, John Carpenter's The Thing. I've heard from a bunch of people that I would probably like The Thing. I still haven't gotten around to watching it though.
I haven't because I know a particular scene in there that I just don't want to see.
Why? You don't want to say? I don't want to say anything. Just you watch it.
I don't want to spoil it because I know the movie. I know what happens and everything. I just don't. It's like,
The Thing is probably one of
probably one of the best horror movies out there.
It's between The Thing and Aliens is the best action horror movie of all time.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely liked Aliens, the sequel, a lot better than I liked the original Aliens.
Yeah, because that's more action.
Aliens,
they had guns that could fight back, so
yeah. Alien is just a slasher movie with an alien instead of a regular thing.
Exactly. So yeah, slasher movies. I haven't really seen a whole lot of them, but I'd definitely be okay with
slashers. Are kind of like they're kind of the popcorn horror movie sort of thing. Like they're just more for they're fun. They are like I've watched like Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen some of the Friday the 13th and stuff like that. Those are definitely the movies that are kind of just fun to sit back, watch, and like it is, shouting at them, going, "What the heck are you doing going in there?" sort of thing, and just kind of more riffing and having fun on them.
Yeah, and I watched the original Scream last October for the first time, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, you probably liked it because Scream is a parody of it's a parody of slashers. So it's pretty much a serious, scary movie. Is the best way to think of Scream.
Oh, you mean scary movie as in like the comedy ones?
Yeah. Scream is it's a serious. Where Scary Movie is like a comedy, but Scream is the same thing as that, but it's more of a serious version, not making just random reference jokes. It's like the
deconstruction of the slasher genre sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so someone's like, you should probably watch like Screams 1 through, I don't remember, like 6 or something. I was like, I probably won't. Not that I wouldn't, just because like there's a lot more stuff that I would rather watch instead. Like if someone was watching them, it'd be like, sure, but I don't watch a whole lot to begin with, so it's like I'm not gonna make time to watch those movies, but I'd be fine with watching those.
Well, and I have to put the most James thing on right here.
I just responded to
this. Is the most James. Yeah, this is the most James thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't even like Aliens, but I'll choose to like the worst one out of them all. But Alien is great though.
Alien Resurrection, is that the third or is that the fourth one?
That's the fourth one.
Okay,
what is wrong with you?
I haven't seen 3 and 4, and then I've seen Prometheus.
I never saw Covenant. On Prometheus. I've only seen 1 through 4. I haven't seen.
Oh yeah, seeing James with me. Scream is fantastic. Yeah, and Sapple Rai is here. Good evening, Sapple Rai. Good to see you, buddy. He made things very interesting last night on Mass Effect Monday. It was fun. So, it's genuinely my second favorite in the franchise. The first one is good. That is definitely like the most James thing. So
no way, Resurrection is the worst. Dang.
Which I'm curious.
James, I guess I can't speak. I haven't seen beyond that one, so. Yeah, I've seen a lot of apologist videos for Prometheus and Beyond of people like basically adding to the lore that may or may not have been in the movie.
Yeah, I I don't go after the fourth one.
I think a lot of
Just
people would probably agree with this.
just because like that's the main.
Yeah.
I mean, the third one has its place. It just unfortunately changes a lot of things.
Well, and it was mired in a lot of like rewrites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too.
So I mean, that's why I don't like. They had so much trouble with the third one. That's why I don't know why they. I mean, I know why, because that's why they called it Alien Resurrection, because that was during the time where if you put Resurrection or anything like that after a movie title, it's probably going to suck. But they also did that for whatever reasons. But I don't know.
So yeah, when Timon said 2 Alien movies, I knew what you meant: Alien and Aliens. And James is like, yeah, Alien and Alien Resurrection. He's like, no.
That's why you saw my face just stop. I'm like, no.
James saying Romulus is the worst. It's the Force Awakens of Alien. I can't say.
I haven't seen it. Yeah. I
So
just heard what James was saying about it.
Is Alien even considered a horror movie? Absolutely. I was considered a thriller. That Alien is probably the scariest movie I've ever seen. I don't typically do scary.
It's definitely right. It's definitely so. Yeah.
Okay, this is great. Prometheus is like Idiocracy in space. That's hilarious. You can.
I heard there was some good concepts with the movie. It just fell flat on its ass.
It's like Idiocracy could be on this list because it's scary how accurate it was. When I saw Idiocracy, like when it was brand new, I was like, this movie is prophetic, and people are now talking about it like this movie was way ahead of its time. I was like, it was way ahead of its time when it came out in the early 2000s.
I still haven't watched that movie.
Oh, it's funny. Oh, Terry Crews as President Camacho is hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we will move on to our next one at number 4. So, do we have a usual? I know Jason's number 4 is usually the hot take, but I think I stole that with the number 5.
Oh yeah, no, I think
Jason probably won't have any hot takes on this one.
I don't think so. Like I said, yeah, no, this one was very easy for me to be like, yeah, these movies scare the crap out of me. If they're on, I'm probably not going to watch them. And again, I'm not going to go to watch them.
Good to see you, Inu. Glad to hope you're having a good time. So here, Jason started us off with number 5. I guess I'll go ahead and start us off with number 4. This one actually is. I wouldn't say it's super scary, but it's definitely more scary than ID Independence Day, and it also involves aliens. And I only saw it once, but I would definitely watch it again. I do plan to watch it again because it's had a couple sequels that I haven't gotten around to watching yet, and had a great concept. And I did like this movie, and I am looking forward to watching it again. And that is with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, A Quiet Place. I thought that was a great low-budget horror alien thriller movie. Had a great concept. I literally think about this movie all the time. Like if I drop something that makes a loud noise, I'm like, if we were in A Quiet Place, I'd be dead right now. So, it kind of came out of nowhere. It just blew up. And I just thought that was a great concept. Aliens that are blind but see by hearing. The only thing that I thought, I mean, it makes sense for the movie. You can't have aliens that have too strong of hearing because if their hearing is too strong, you wouldn't be able to hide from them because they'd be able to hear your heartbeat and you can't get away from your heart. But yeah, the whole concept of, having to be quiet, I thought was great. I am looking forward to seeing the sequel and the one that just recently came out with Day One. It actually, covers the like invasion day or whatever. Basically the E-Day. Reference to Gears of War, basically the E-Day of A Quiet Place. I just thought that was a great movie, and I really liked it, and I would gladly watch it again.
Yeah, that was a good one. See, now you have one that's that I can't
I was say I think and I don't think anyone would argue that doesn't fit spooky movie.
No, this is really good. Yeah, like it's almost the opposite of Tremors, like where you can't be on ground and they hear you this way. This is like you literally have to learn a new way of life, and if you can't talk, you have to learn you have to learn sign language. You have to make sure you do certain things that are different so you can actually live, because any wrong sound or any false move, they're on you.
Yeah, before I had seen the movie and like I knew the premise of the movie is aliens that are blind but they have good hearing. I was like, how would that work if you had a baby in this apocalypse and that was in the movie? So I was like, all right. The thing that I'd be really curious to see, I don't know if they covered this in the sequel, but it may be easier to keep a baby in like some sort of like container that keeps them quiet. But when they're too big for that and they're toddlers, you can't keep them quiet. How does that work? So if that's in the sequel, I look forward to seeing how they cover that. But yeah, I just thought that was a great movie. And going back, dude is saying that Demolition Man and Idiocracy are prophetic. Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
James saying I would argue, but I've never seen it.
I haven't seen Quiet Place either.
It was great. I actually enjoyed it. And too many inconsistencies in A Quiet Place, and the deaf girl is too stupid to be alive. I haven't really, I just watched it once. I haven't looked into any of the background things like theories and why this movie doesn't make sense. So I'm sure there probably are. And if I was to look into that, it very well may change my opinion on the movie, but I did enjoy it either way.
And again, it's not like, and again, that's for the top 5. It's not like, again, that's why I changed my mind. It's not.
This is one thing I did think of. It's like, why don't they just live at the waterfall? Because there's a part where they go to the waterfall and they can be loud because the aliens can't hear them over the sound of the water. Why wouldn't they just live there? That is an excellent question.
Yeah, that is interesting because they think about it too. But then they're always by there. So I mean, like if they're attracted to the sound, it's almost like one of those bug. What are those electric bug things that are outside? The bug's always going to fly it. No, the things that kill mosquitoes at night, because of the light, they get attracted to the light and they get shocked kind of thing.
Oh.
So, I mean, if you're by the waterfall, like, wouldn't those things always be around that area kind of thing? So
I'm assuming that they can tell the difference between essentially what's considered white noise and like actual like noise made by something that's not natural.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I mean, they're at least somewhat intelligent. Like if you were blind, you'd still be able to tell the difference between a waterfall and like glass shattering. It's like, oh, glass. That's obviously not something natural.
Yeah,
true.
So
very true.
But yeah, so that was my number 4, and I think it should make up at least a little bit for my number 5. So, okay, yeah, we'll go in reverse since Jason started off with number 5. We'll have him end with number 4. So, Filter, what is your number 4?
All right, so this is kind of, I mean, it's a friendly movie ish, but it's definitely like a movie where it has celebration of old horror movies and stuff like that. But there's a lot of, at least certainly for me as a kid, and there's still some eeriness to this, but especially with like there are some scares in it and stuff like that. And it's Ernest Scared Stupid. It's absolutely one of my favorite. It's yes, like a kids movie, I guess, but like the trolls in that movie are like legitimately just horrific looking, especially like the main lead troll is just this ugly, disgusting thing that manages to freaking ninja around and get the jump on these kids in either mimicking their voices, creeping underneath the bed and stuff like that. Like it is kind of all of the childhood fears you'd expect. And what was kind of cool too is that you learn how like for some of the trolls that they did have are reused suits from killer clowns from outer space. So that's the really cool part there. But like
James agrees with you.
Yeah. But no, there are some pretty, and like I said, and the intro is just like this big celebration of like B horror movies from like the 50s and stuff like that. And I didn't always recognize them until I started watching a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000 where they riffed on a lot of those. And now I'm like, I recognize that now. But I don't, it's a movie that I love to this day. I still think it's a great fun. It's fun, and like I said, just that troll in general, just that main troll is just this hideous, freakish goblin thing that does not stop. It's relentless. It's like it's like Jason or something, but it can actually communicate with you. And at the end, when it goes like super troll, you're like, just like the first appearance that it gets and everything, you're like, holy hell, this thing is hideous and more vicious looking. But then it kind of gets de-escalated very quickly with the way Ernest defeats it. But they really play it up though, like, oh my god, how are we going to defeat the big bad troll now? But it's fun. But like I think there are some like legitimate like spooky stuff in the movie throughout it. But yeah, that's my number 4.
Yeah, I remember there was how many Ernest movies are there? I remember there was kind of a big thing like in the 90s. There was a bunch of them.
He was like I saw somebody point out he was kind of the first viral star. He's kind of like that first real like kind of the first viral sensation for Ernest, because like his character just blew up just from doing commercials for his local station and stuff like that, where he's doing like car commercials and stuff like that, and just did it on the Hey Vern, where he was talking to his friend Vern, but selling him a car, selling him Mellow Yellow or whatever, and he got bigger exposure, and then they started making movies for his character, and Jim Varney just blew up after that. Yeah, he was a comedian on top of it, so.
Yeah, I remember seeing like those movies like all over the place, but I never actually saw any of those Ernest movies.
Yeah, that one is a good one, as well as Ernest Saves Christmas, I think, is another great one. But Ernest Goes to Jail, another fun one. But I'd say like Ernest Scared Stupid, the Halloween one is fantastic. It's probably the best one, especially like production wise and stuff like that. There are those that really hit that B level, like almost like made for TV movie sort of quality that you'd see for the footage and stuff like that. But like that one was probably its top tier.
Yeah, and James is saying like I think there's 12. And yeah, I just Googled it and he guessed it right. Although it says I Googled it and it says there are 12 Ernest feature films and TV specials.
Yeah.
From 85 to 98.
Yeah, because he even had a TV show called Hey Vern. I think it was like Ernest and Hey Vern or something like that. And he had like there's yeah, Ernest Goes to Africa. Ernest Joins the Army, I think, is another one, or that might be the Africa one. I'm not sure. Ernest Goes Back to School. There's it's so many of them.
And I just thought he disappeared out of the limelight. I didn't realize he died in 2000. Only the age of 50.
Yeah,
I did not know that till just now.
Cancer or something like that. And man, he had done and he was in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. He was the Slinky the dog in the Toy Story movies.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense now. I can't believe I didn't place that. Because I realized it, I mean, years down the line, but I realized, Rex was the inconceivable guy from, Princess Bride, but I never realized that Slinky was Ernest.
Ernest does Dallas. Oh God.
So I don't know if this one exists or was like something that I thought exists. Maybe it doesn't. Was there an Ernest Goes to Hell?
I don't believe so.
Okay, maybe I'm getting.
I know there's Ernest Goes to Camp, and like James is pointing out for Goes to Africa, there's just like it is, yeah, so many Ernest movies and stuff.
All right, well. Look who decided to show up.
Boogity boo.
Yeah, you twist my arm, so I decided to come.
What's up? Everything okay in your neck of the woods?
I have boomer parents that do boomer things, and I spent 2 hours fixing boomer shit.
We just sometimes have to help our boomer parents. They need help. They can't figure all out the technology and stuff.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, okay. Glad you can make it. Well, I don't know. Did you already spoil your whole list, or was that a spoof list?
I don't know. What number are we on?
We're currently on number 4.
We're what? Okay.
You put a list in chat, so I wasn't sure if that was a legitimate list or not. So
I can keep. I can just go from 4 and make some new ones up.
All right. Well, yeah. Since you're here, go ahead and take us on into your number 4, and then we'll close off number 4s with Jason.
All right. Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay,
Well, there you go.
that's a real one.
Damn. That's the one I think I've seen bits and pieces of, but I've not watched it all the way through.
Yeah, the original one is so crazy and over the top. It's just
Yeah.
when they're like picking up the hitchhiker, and he just like randomly cuts them, and like just like it's just like wild. Like so like I grow up I'm in the burbs of Illinois, but we have like a lot of farmland around me and all that stuff. So like
Right.
a lot of our haunted houses are always in like these kind of decrepit like barn areas.
Yeah,
and they always
broken
have
down
like,
houses and stuff like that.
and you always see like one of those like broken down houses and everything like that. So it's just to me like it always like freaked me out, especially because like me and my friends like we would also get like high and just walk around at night, and we'd always pass by one of these weird houses when we were teenagers. So we'd always be like, we would always just do the thing where it's like, think this is the night we die, kind of deal. Just to try to like ruin someone's trip or something like that. So yeah, that's for sure one of the that's the best one I can give you right now. Let me get some minutes to compose.
Well,
But yeah,
it's like-
Texas
No
Chainsaw
worries.
Massacre.
Well, you got James's approval. He
Yep.
says it's excellent and genuinely a masterpiece in so many ways. I'll have to take your word for it. Like I said, I didn't want to see someone sawing off their own foot in Saw, so I'm probably definitely not going to watch.
I will.
Although it is closer to a slasher type movie, which I'm okay with. So I'd probably be more okay with watching this than something like The Exorcist, but I'd pass on it unless I was basically forced to watch it.
I'll have more to talk about this movie later.
Oh,
There we go.
so. All right. Anybody have any other things to say about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Besides
Since
Jason?
I haven't watched it, no.
Yeah. All right. Well then, Jason, what is your number 4?
Again, a lot of my stuff is just like how real and stuff can be, but my number 4 is not the Japanese version, but the American version, because I actually didn't watch the Japanese version like everybody at first. But my number 4 is The Ring.
I have not watched that in quite some time.
Yeah,
I
so
remember
my
I did
number
check it out.
Yeah, my number 4 is The Ring. To have like this random videotape that can cause anything to happen. Next thing you get a phone call saying you're gonna die in a week. Just the idea is like you have a crazy voice that calls you saying 7 days, and you're like, all right,
I
interesting.
love that show.
Yeah, right.
Does anybody remember 7 Days? I love the premise of that show. That was great.
That one was
yeah.
It was like
never
on-
wanted to come out.
It was like in the early or mid 90s.
Yeah, I know what you're
Oh.
talking
It
about.
ran for only a couple seasons. It was like a low budget. They had a time machine that would go back in time 7 days, and this guy would go back and try to
No,
stop
so-
avert
The
disasters.
event, avert a certain disaster that was happening. And
That was a cool
stuff.
concept. I like that show.
The only one that I knew that had a premise like that, because I was born in '91, unlike you boomers. There was a Disney Channel show called The Jersey. Did you guys ever see that?
I did, because I had a huge crush on, what was her name? She was like brunette, redheaded chick in that show. She was hot.
I don't know.
I didn't
I
watch
can't
it,
think
so
of
I don't
Disney.
know.
I didn't have because it was on Disney, and I only had like the 3 stations that came over the airwaves. I didn't have cable, so I only got to see it like at other people's houses. But I remember having a crush on the chick in that show. I don't even remember what the premise of that show was. What was the premise? It was you wear the jersey and become
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you wear the jersey, you become the athlete. It's like
Yeah,
of that
switch.
jersey.
Yeah.
you have to like they put him in like a situation to like score a touchdown or something like that. It's kind of funny. Is like they became like football players, and one girl's crying uncontrollably as like this giant buff black offensive lineman. It's pretty fun.
Let's see if I could spell it. Where's this show? I'm getting a bunch
Is it
of
Courtney Draper?
Yeah, her. Yeah, I had a huge crush on her.
So back to the
yeah.
ring.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that, and then the way that Oh man, it's Samara, right? Yeah, Samara. I'm trying to
Yes.
think of the name.
I
Like
I found
actually,
that out when I was making the thumbnail because I was like, "Girl from
yeah,
The Ring," and
yeah,
then
yeah.
putting Samara. I'm like, "Who is that?" It's like, "Oh, that must be the character's name."
Yeah, pretty much like like I don't even know the best way to describe it, but like the way that like get dehydrated and scared so thing, and that's like their face when they die. It's just still I can kind of see how
Yeah, it's
that
pretty
like
horrific.
that, and then for some odd reason, again, a lot of the stuff I have like just scaredness. I when I tiny kid and everything like that, I would always fall asleep with the TV on, right?
Uh-oh.
And then back then, we would have TVs that, when the station would be over with, it would go to that static,
Go to
right?
the static station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when you would wake up at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because it's louder than what the thing is. And you're like, holy crap. And you'd be like, all right, I guess I got to turn the TV off because I forgot to do that or turn it down. But again, it was always super loud. So when, that happens and she walks out of the TV at the very end, anytime static would happen and I would see that, like, I'd be like, what the hell kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it would always just play on a thing that I had in the past to whatever say that. So anytime I see like a snowy static TV with that loud thing, and then she's just slowly, they don't even cut away really because she kind of like transports whatever, like digitally VCR kind of thing. She would do that and just walk out of the TV at the end. It's like, yeah, that to me was always just kind of like, oh man, that's it had on a past spook factor for me, and spooky factor for me, and that seeing that it's just like, nope, I'm cool. And then trying to figure out like, oh yeah, my I'm gonna die in 7 days, and try to stop and solve it and everything like that to make sure the curse kind of gets broken. Then you find out, oh no, it didn't happen. Always was another interesting way. And then you had I forgot, we had to like recopy the tape so many times or something like
which
that.
is something only with VHSs of the time and stuff like that. I was
Mhm.
like thinking about like that is only for that era for sure.
Mhm.
Like, 'cause otherwise, like nowadays, like I mean, you had to watch it first, right, to get the phone call and then to get the so it's like nowadays people just get this VHS, they'd be like, I don't know what to do with this. Here you go. And that became the end of it. Now that'd be on like on a DVD or something.
Right, right,
Oh,
right.
that's how they could have copied it, huh? That's how you transport it onto the next format, right? Because
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole copying idea.
Yeah, they had to figure out the DVD section after a while.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was just one of those very, very interesting ways. But again, just played on a past like thing that already kind of scared me. So it's another one. It's just like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the movie's okay. Some people really like it. For me, I think it's a little long, but just like the ending things, it's just like, yeah, if it's on, I'm like, no, I'm cool. I've seen it. I've seen it like maybe twice, a couple times like that. I'm like, no, I'm fine.
It's shoot, I'm trying to find it. It's funny that you did bring that up because, like I said, I haven't seen it because I typically don't watch those sort of types of things. But a YouTuber that I always want to give credit to because he's hilarious. It's the Pitch Meeting channel. If you haven't watched Pitch Meetings, they are great. He just did a pitch meeting on The Ring like a week or two
Nice.
ago. So I learned pretty much everything I know about that movie from his pitch meeting.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's easy to like watching that stuff. Like, yeah, like there's not too much to get out of it except for like, yeah, don't watch this tape, and if you do, you pretty much have a week to live. So live it up.
So, and Rocker Dude brings it up when we're talking about Courtney Draper from the Jerseys. Yes, she voiced Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite. So, all right. Well, I think that wraps up our number 4s. All right. Let me switch back over here to this tab. Yes. So, all right. Well, that brings us into our number 3s. 59, 45. And Carl, you okay? We start off with you on this one, or do you want some more time?
Let me go second. I got to double check some facts about this thing.
All right. Filter, why don't you kick off our number 3s then?
Sure. This is a sequel. Probably to be expected, and Carl already kind of had it on his own list, and it's The Evil Dead 2. I think it's just it is that perfect blend of horror, comedy, and everything in between. Yeah, like it is. They've even got the slapstick thrown in there, since the Three Stooges fans and all that jazz. But the scene in particular where he is uh having just cut off his hand, had it flip him off, and then he's just standing in that room, and then everything starts coming alive. And I just see it as like this thing of poor Ash. He's there in this cabin. He's had to murder his friends and girlfriend because they've been possessed by demons, and he's just finally just snapped, going insane as he has all these things laughing at him pretty much. And he kind of shuffle dances with the lamp. But like, I just see it so much. It's just like he is just cracked. He's losing it completely. But then like the whole thing, like it's I mean, hell, Ted Raimi does great work in a bodysuit playing a deformed old woman, taunting the rest of them. Dead by dawn, dead by dawn.
Did you mean Sam Raimi?
No, Ted Raimi, his brother. He was the one in the fat suit, playing the dead wife of
Bloated.
Yeah.
all bloated and everything. Horrific. I mean, Ted Raimi, he's just basically has done so much of that stuff for his brother. He's like always kind of like the extra background. Like you could even see he appears in like the Spider-Man movies too.
I mean, I know Bruce Campbell is cameoed in basically all the Spider-Mans because
Ted Raimi was also.
I didn't even know who Ted Raimi was.
Yeah, he's in the Daily Bugle. He pops up occasionally. I know like Spider-Man 2 for sure. He pops up with, especially like when Jonah is trying to name Doc Ock and stuff like that. And he comes up with I think the name for Doc Ock, and he takes it from him.
And then he steals it from him. Wait a minute, I got it. Doc Ock.
You're great, sir. Great.
Yeah. I've got his IMDb pulled up right now, and I was like, I do recognize him.
Yep. But yeah, I think it is just kind of certainly for me, just the definitive one of the franchise for Evil Dead. It's just that perfect blend. Best comedy horror ever. I definitely put it right up there. I mean,
your picks all tonight have been top tier in James' book, that's for sure.
You just got it where it's just like, he's just like he's seeing all of this psychotic things happening around him. It's like, is it his mind? Is it the Deadites playing with him? I mean, you can only sometimes take a guess, but like it's most likely the Deadites just messing with him and having it almost in their way, their own sick, twisted, good time of it. But honestly, I think like some of the best parts is before the rest of the crew get to the new bunch of basically sacrifices to it all, get to the cabin and join them. But like some of the best bits is just him just alone trying to figure out what he needs to do next. He's trapped, but he has to try and find a way out of this place, and he's partly possessed. He's trying to figure it out. Oh, just amazing stuff.
Yeah, I think it was on Top 5 Spooky Games 2 weeks ago because I said like I had seen an Evil Dead movie. I thought it was the original, but apparently you guys let me know. I think it was the third one.
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah. So obviously I don't really know much about this franchise. So it's not top of mind. But when I hear people talk about Ash Williams, they're talking about Bruce Campbell in this franchise. But me not knowing much about this franchise, me being a big Mass Effect fan, anytime somebody Williams, I'm thinking Ashley Williams, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And like they're talking about like and then they're talking about like a horror movie. I'm like, oh, that's right. There's Bruce Campbell, Ash Williams. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and what's kind of cool too is like there's a clip out there of Bruce Campbell saying how if you take the end of the first movie and kind of cut it right at the right point as he's kind of being shot through the air, and then cut into the second movie where he's being thrown through the air, you can basically connect the two movies together, because you could just cut out the recap basically of in the second movie. They kind of recap the first one. They just kind of
the remix.
They just it's kind of an abridged version of the retelling of the first movie. So you can just easily just cut the two together and then like go from there. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I should do that one of these days. so I could have like just that
The
blend.
the only thing with that theory that kind of cuts away is because when you see like I can't remember in Army of Darkness what the main villain is, but like that's just Bruce Campbell's hand from the second one when he cuts it off. Because it's when it sprouts the eye and that pretty much grows into.
Oh, that was because he drank one of the miniature versions of himself
Yeah.
in the cabin
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
third movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. They
how did
and
that?
they and then he does like a whole scene. I actually just talked about this with not too long ago. But he's like drinking all this hot liquid.
Yeah,
and
all
like,
he drinks the hot water that he just cooked up and fries
and
a little bit.
I love Bruce Campbell's acting because he's just like does the perfect form of like pain comedy and like just psychotic laughing at the same time.
He's really good at it.
That scene is the best
for it. Well, then he has such a great way of, while some lines can be like so cheesy, he delivers it in such a cool way that you just believe it. Sometimes you're like, dang, that's a great fight. That is just a great line. Because I love it when he does the in the third movie, the second where there's the two of them and they finally split apart and they're circling each other and and his evil quote unquote evil version is mocking him, going, "You're good, Ash. I'm bad, Ash," and he does all the little mimicry to it, and he pops the shotgun. It's good stuff.
All right. Well, I'd say it's a good pick.
Yes,
Although
I would say so.
I can't concur because I haven't seen it, but I'd probably be okay with seeing it because it definitely seems like it's more. Those movies are more in the comedy horror, which
the second one.
The second one, yeah.
The second one is the first one actually is a good horror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's what you guys are saying.
And it's where Raimi you see how he's kind of has his style of the whole camera angle where it's doing the whole chasing the person thing. Like that is very him. And I loved it too because he brought that back for Spider-Man 2 when Doc Ock is killing people with the tentacle, killing all the doctors with the tentacles, and it does that camera pan where it's from the perspective of the tentacles, but like it is, he always did that in Evil Dead for this perspective of the Deadite spirits coming to possess, take over, or just outright destroy whatever they're going after. It's just his signature, and it's fantastic.
Still never saw Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Really?
If you're not a Spider-Man fan, I don't blame you.
No, I saw number 1 and I saw number 3. I just never seen number 2.
Wow. How do you go from 1 to 3? What?
And a lot of people consider that one of the best superhero movies too.
Yes, number 3, I agree.
No, Spider-Man 2, not 3.
It has Emo Parker. It's got Eric Foreman playing Venom. Greatest movie. The best.
Oh my God, the rage that caused. Oh boy. Oh boy.
So,
anyways.
All right. Well, Carl, you ready to go for number 3, or you still need some more time?
My number 3 is a Peter Jackson movie called Dead Alive.
I've heard of that movie, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so Dead Alive basically is a acid trip of a movie, to say the least.
You got James's wacky support as well.
You're in trouble when that happens.
You know I'm right, all right? But we're not here to talk Spider-Man. We're here to talk horror. It's spooky. But so I remember watching the Angry Video Game Nerds Monster Madness, and he just recommended this.
Those were great.
And there was a scene that like just stood out to me, and it's this priest in this graveyard fighting these zombies in like kung fu style thing, and he just goes like, "I kick ass for the Lord," and he's just like, like karate kicking these zombies all over the place. And I was like, I gotta watch this movie. And once I watched Dead Alive, I will tell you this right now: if you are a person that has like a weak stomach and you don't like that grotesque thing, do not watch this movie. Do not come.
Do not.
All right, you will hate this so much. It is over the top zombie body mutilation, blood, almost to like a comical level of like, so like we were just talking about like the Evil Dead. So like the Evil Dead has like that real over the top comical blood. This is like that times 100.
Yeah,
We're talking
yeah.
like there's a whole battle scene in that movie where the guy's name is Wictus. It takes place in New Zealand, and he goes into this house where there's like a whole group of zombies. And he grabs a lawnmower and he's just carrying his lawnmower around, mowing down people with the actual lawnmower. And I literally mean mowing them down, like just turning them into mulch.
That's like the most famous scene of that movie.
I think I remember James talking about this movie once because I've heard him talk about fighting a baby while a drunk priest cheers him on.
Yes,
I know.
It's a homeless guy.
I know bits and pieces of this movie, but again, it's another movie I need. This is one I know I need to see.
Yeah, so basically, like the whole premise of it at the start of it is that they transport this rat back to America or no, New Zealand. Sorry,
Sumatran rat monkey, according to IMDb. Which I don't know what that even means, but
and then it just bites people and it turns them into zombies. And then like the main character's mother gets bit by this monkey and she like stomps it out. Like legitimately, it's like one of the like just guts and everything. She just goes to town on killing this thing. And then she slowly starts to die and like decompose like live and become like a zombie. And she gets like all these boils on her body and she starts scratching the boils and they pop and they go into this guy's pudding and he starts eating the pudding and everything else. Like, man, look at Neo's face. It's like,
yeah, they're literally eating and she's falling apart in the meal.
Ugh, gross.
And like I said, this is kind of like just reminds me a lot of like the Evil Dead in so many ways.
Well, I've got the movie pulled up on IMDb here, and I scroll down. It says more movies like this: Evil Dead 2.
Yes. and just for the sake of conversation, I'm changing up my list with other movies just to kind of keep it more like fresh since I already spoiled some of my stuff. So I'm just removing Evil Dead off the list. But that's why I wanted to replace it with something like the Evil Dead, because it's this movie is just insane. Like nothing makes sense in this movie. It like the characters are all insane. There's like I think they're like gypsies that he falls in love with like a gypsy girl, and it's like she like her mom like can predict some of the stuff that's going on with him and stuff like that. There's like a whole weird subplot. There's like this other subplot with like an uncle who keeps trying to get him to sell the house so he could take it, and just the end of the movie, like you just gotta see this movie, all right? That's the best way I can say it. If you love Evil Dead and you have not seen or heard about this movie, you just need to watch it purely out of just how incredibly insane this movie is. But also you could tell your friends is like, hey, let's go watch a Peter Jackson film, and that's all you can
Lord
say.
of the Rings, no.
That's what it is. And I will say this: one of my funnest memories was when I was like very young, still like 21, like damn near 13 years ago. I went to a Halloween party and showed this to my friends, and like 2 of them threw up. So that's how I knew I was having a good night.
And I threw up because of the movie, not because of the drinking.
Or maybe column A, column B. They were drinking so much that they threw up.
Okay. Well, yeah, I scrolled down a little bit farther, and it has quotes. I kick arse for the Lord.
I kick ass for the Lord.
That's pretty great. So, yeah. Like some of the others, I don't have any plans to watch it, but I'd probably be okay with watching this one.
Oh, you want to watch it? I got it. We can have movie night.
1992. So that's there's a lot of older top tier horror movies. I mean, I already talked about The Exorcist from the 70s, but yeah, I didn't realize. No, I don't. I'd heard of this movie. I literally didn't know anything about it until just now. I thought it would have been newer than that. So learned something new. So,
yep.
All right, Jason. I think that will leave you to finish off our number 3s.
I don't think you gave us your number 3 yet.
Oh, that's right. I have not given my number 3. So, actually, that works great. I'll go ahead and go. And then you can wrap up our number 3s, because this is something we argued about on last top 5, and we were supposed to put the poll in at the beginning of it, but it ties in very perfectly for this. So I meant, because it's been a very long time since I've seen this movie. I started watching it last night after my stream. I didn't finish it because I started it too late and I was really tired from work and stuff. So I still have to finish the second half of the movie. But it is not a scary movie, but it is spooky. It's got vampires, it's got werewolves, it's got Hugh Jackman, and it's got smoking hot Kate Beckinsale and Van Helsing. Not a great movie, but it's just so much fun. I love it. Literally, I don't think I've ever seen Kate Beckinsale hotter than in any other movie than this one.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We were arguing about it last top 5.
Yeah.
So we're going to put it to a poll. I've got the poll here. I'm hitting start poll right now. So all you guys in chat can vote on which Kate Beckinsale was hotter, Underworld or Van Helsing. And if it's not Van Helsing, you're wrong. She's hot in Underworld, but she's way hotter in Van Helsing. But Van Helsing's, it's, he's like for this like secret order that, exists under the Vatican. And it's basically like James Bond, where they got all these people like making cool gadgets from like the 1800s. And he goes and hunts monsters. It's really cool. It's fun. It's action. It's got vampires. It's got werewolves. It's got Frankenstein's monster. It's just a fun movie. I don't know what else to say. It's just great. I love this movie.
Yes, that's also right there, Christian. I did actually just buy that game.
Yes, we were talking about that as well. Go ahead.
Because I just had to. I'm going to stream it next week. Because I was just like, yeah, I'm going to stream it pretty soon, and then I realized I didn't own it. I was like, I totally own this game. I buy all useless games. I have so many, and then I'm like, I have to have Van Helsing, and then I'm like, son of a gun. I don't actually own this.
But you still are going to stream it at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at maybe Wednesday. No, next Thursday or Saturday. No, not this Saturday. Yeah, sometime next week.
Yeah, I think that's what started this whole conversation, was on top 5 spooky video games. About Van Helsing game, which I've never played, but apparently I think you said it's like a DMC clone.
Yes.
I think, was it top 5 spooky video games, or was it a previous? No, it was spooky games.
That was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was thinking it was maybe a different.
It could have been Party Chat. We've been all over the place with this Kate Beckinsale arc for 3 weeks now.
You know what? I think it was Party Chat, because I was like, I swear we talked about clone ripoff games. It was Party Chat. We were talking about clone ripoff games, and that's when you were talking about the Van Helsing game.
Yeah.
So, Timon's saying 100% Underworld, because yes, I will give you that. Leather suit's hot, but yeah, I mean, let's see here. I can't see it in
that
Restream.
corset and everything that she was in.
Right? I got to pull it up here on my other monitor here. Let's see what, at the moment, we're looking at 75% for Van Helsing. Yes.
Got to give it a win.
I agree. So we're gonna let that run for the whole rest of the stream, so everyone can vote.
Listen, I like Van Helsing. It's like one of those perfect early 2000s action movies where you just like eat the popcorn and you just have fun with it,
Yeah.
Like, it's not over the top. It's really fun to watch. He starts the movie starts where he fights Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay, come on. Is that like
for 2004? He looked pretty good for 2004 CGI.
And like I said, one of the cool plot points of that movie, and they kind of like joke about it, is like Dracula's got these like 3 hot women, and they have kids, but they're all dead because vampires can't produce live kids. So, it's like what the plot point of the movie is, like Dracula's trying to make all his children come to life. And I think it's just fun. It's just over the top fun. You got to watch it. It's like one of those perfect in-betweener movies where it's like, I don't want to watch like, say, something super scary, but I don't want to watch something like kind of old too. Like, I don't want to watch Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I don't want to watch the Hammer Draculas, but I want to have like, that real fun Dracula movie. So, that's one of them for sure to go with.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I'm looking forward to finishing the rest of it. I'll probably finish it tonight after the stream. So,
and then you got to play the game.
Yeah, I didn't even know that game existed until you talked about it on Party Chat. So,
stick with me, kid. I'll show you the world.
I will. I'll look into it. So, All right, then I guess that'll leave us with Jason to finish off our number threes.
Okay, so my three, just in a preference, I've seen these movies one time, and one time's enough for me. So these are like the three that easily could be split up. So, but yeah. So my number three is Midsommar. Um, I saw this movie in theaters, and holy crap, that's all I needed to see is one time because that movie disturbed the Nikes out of me.
I didn't realize that was a spooky movie.
Oh yeah,
Midsommar is the name of this movie?
yeah, Midsommar.
Never
It
heard
came
of
out
this.
just like like 2 years ago. It's pretty new.
Yeah, it's fairly new. But actually, it might be more than 2 years. But yes, it's a newer movie.
I didn't even realize it was a spooky movie. I thought it was like
Oh yeah.
like
No, I mean you can. Yeah, no, no.
2019. Okay, wow, it's already 5 years old.
Yeah.
With Florence Pugh, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
So yeah, they go. It's another one of those movies where they go to a random place, and then obviously they're celebrating Midsummer. You know the I think it's the holiday in I forget.
Oh,
Sweden, yeah.
Sweden. Yeah, okay, good.
Midsummer. Okay.
Oh yeah, Midsummer. I
No,
pronounce
you're
it.
saying it right because it's an AR, not an ER, so it is Midsummer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. Now I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Sorry, carry on.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, they go on a trip because of a friend that they kind of don't know, but they know says like, hey, you should come back to me to celebrate this holiday. And then next you know it, yeah, craziness just ensues. And but the reason why Florence Pugh's character doesn't want to go but wants to go is because her sister pretty much commits suicide and also kills her parents too because she starts the car in the garage, takes a very very long hose, attaches it to the back of the car, and next you know it, she makes a gas mask just huffing thing like that, but tapes and locks everything, so kills her parents and kills herself. But they show the imagery of that. And in the movie too, because of the way I can't remember the guy that directs it. He's gonna pop up again soon. I can never remember his name, but I hate when his movies come out. I'm like, damn good. Yeah, Ari Aster. His stuff is ridiculous. And Meteor Advice or Meteor Advocate. Yes, I can see it is being boring, but if you watch it and the fact of it being like, it's not saying real, but like being certain like that. Like it is insane on how they treat this and how they want this person that has all this trauma to become like this queen of Midsummer and all that kind of stuff. And she only feels now welcome because of all this kind of like death and everything like that. But I mean, they kill. Well, the one of the ladies in there like puts her period in lemonade for one of the people, and then he dies
Hell
because
yeah.
he's cheating. And then he dies in a bear suit. And I mean, there's people that get their brains bashed in by I forgot the guy's name, but there's just so many just things that just happen while they're, you know, at this thing. And it is just, I don't know. The imagery too is insane. There's a scene that if you could just look up right now, like I was talking about, like the sister's face being with that gas mask from the thing. There's a scene where they're just like walking and it's just a wide shot. If you look into the trees, that's the image, and the trees is the leaves making that same image that you saw in the beginning of the movie with the hose and the sister's face and everything like that. But yeah, there's just so much imagery and so much craziness, and then they try to paint it off as like such a not a happy fun thing because all the colors, but like all the colors in there are making it seem like it's this thing to go with. If you're old, you have to become like pretty much a sacrifice. So there's, you know, old people jumping off like these high, you know, cliffs and everything. It is, I don't know. It is one of the movies that I saw once. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like this is too much for even me to handle. Like I've seen it once and I'm like, I'm cool. Because yeah, it is one of those movies that just scared me. Like it was a very spooky movie to me.
Yeah, I can't say it because I can't say a lot about a lot of these movies since
Yeah,
it's not really my genre. But I do remember that coming out and it being kind of a big thing. I just was way off in what genre the movie was.
Yeah. It would have been hilarious if you walked in and said, oh, that's a chick flick, and you'd be just watch the first 10 minutes, you'd be like, nope, I'm good.
I
I'm-
I did mention this. I don't remember if it was on Top 5 or Party Chat, but I did have a similar thing like that happen. Not to those genres, but I was expecting one genre and it turned out to be a completely different genre and actually would fit on this list. But I didn't really care for it that much, and so it's not on my list, but maybe it's on one of yours. And it's a lot of people's favorite sci-fi horror movie, and that was Event Horizon. I just thought it was like a sci-fi movie, and it turned into like this demonic, like evil movie. I'm like, I did not see that coming. I had no idea what I was getting into when I watched that movie.
Daniel's opening the portal to hell.
So, but yeah. So, all right. That will bring us into our number 2s. So, Carl, you ready to kick us off for number 2?
Oh man, this is a tough one. My number 2. I'm just gonna do it because I think it's funny. My favorite spooky movie, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
That almost made my list, but I've only seen it like once, but I did really like that movie.
I absolutely love this movie. It really does kind of capture that spirit of like just old school adventure. It takes place, obviously, I think in the early 1900s, right after World War I. So you got that nice feel for like just like this time period setting. The characters in there are just memorable. They're funny and kind of just interesting to like get to like know. Obviously, like the rivalry between the two groups as they're trying to get to the pyramids. There's a lot of funny one-liners in there with like Brendan Fraser and Benny. I do think that it is like got that like spooky atmosphere too, especially when Imhotep comes back to life and he starts taking people's organs. And that obviously the first really shocking scene that you see there is the guy having his eyes and his tongue taken out, and then they just like see Imhotep himself there just like screaming at them, and they have to kind of just run out of there. But it, like I said, it's just a fun. Go on.
I was gonna say, even before that, like when they're in the they just get to the pyramids and stuff like that. They got a little bit of spooky stuff that happens, and especially with the fat guy that gets the beetle that starts going underneath his skin.
Oh yes,
you see it crawling underneath his skin, and he starts freaking out. He books it, but then this like head on just smashes his face into the wall, the wall, and everybody's just like, "What the hell just happened?"
Or when
and it's just like all the spooky, like the curse of the mummy that starts kind of coming about.
Yeah, or another scene too is when they get all the Egyptian workers to open the tomb and they get sprayed with sulfuric acid.
Yeah,
and they just melt in front of them. But like I said, there's also like the part where Brendan Fraser is like finds a tomb, and I think it's like coyote voices start going off, and the face opens up from the ground and everything.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of like when that was like the I think the battle that he was there when he first ran off from was he started hearing those noises and then ran off.
Yeah, and like I said, there's like even
we turned Timon around on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he went from not spooky, fun, but not spooky, and then okay, somewhat spooky.
Yeah, and then there's like the other parts too that are spooky when they get everyone into town to just start going Imhotep.
Yeah,
the
zombie men basically.
Yeah, and like all the plagues of Egypt start happening and all that stuff. Like it is one of those movies that I like to look at, kind of like Van Helsing, where it just like really hits that like I think was it late 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember when it came out. It feels like
90.
One of those
yeah,
two.
it was like just on the cusp of 2000s. This was 1999.
And like I keep saying too about it, it's just like it hits that blend of just like it does everything right. Like when Benny is confronted with Imhotep and he's going through all the religions, and he gets to the one, the Jewish religion and everything, and that's how he gets out of being killed because he's like the language of the slaves, and like I said, there's some really good funny elements, especially with like Brendan Fraser's character and Benny, and they're kind of like I forget what's Brendan Fraser's main character's name. Do you remember?
It's Rick O'Connell.
O'Connell, and they're like
Yeah.
across. Their boat sinks, and then Benny's on the other. It's like, hey, O'Connell, look, guess who has all the horses? And then he just responds as, hey, Benny, guess who's on the wrong side of the river? You know, there's like I said, there's like genuinely like good, like spooky, scary stuff in this movie. And then it's like they just know how to like they don't do the Marvel cringe where they have to crack a joke every like 5 minutes, but like they get like the perfect like one-liners in like right when they need it. Like especially when they're kind of like I forget the word they mentioned, like and like the wind just blows like randomly every time they say it. And Brendan Fraser just like, that happens a lot around here. You know?
Yeah, just some. I love it too when he did. Emotep is in the apartment or whatever, and then Brendan Fraser kicks open the door, charges in, and then freaks him out with the cat.
Yeah, guess what I got?
Yeah, guess what I got?
But like, yeah, it's also how like they keep killing all the people in the opposing survey team too, and just like
Yeah.
you know, like just drains them of their life essence. Like one of the dudes just gets wrapped up in a sandstorm and gets all his like juices taken out and everything too, like that. It is really good. It's a really good movie so far. It's a really good movie, and if
It's definitely
you should
peak
watch
Brendan
it.
Fraser for sure. It's just like some of his best stuff. This fun action adventure movie.
Yeah,
And
like
a very smoking hot Rachel Weisz.
yes. If you haven't seen this movie, you should make it a priority because the first one, not the other two, but the first one in particular, it's really good.
The first one's the best one.
And that's all I have to say of it right now.
Okay. That's good. Phil, do you want to give us your number 2?
Sure. And this is also a Peter Jackson movie with an actor. I think this was kind of his last leading role before he kind of stepped out and he's done side stuff and everything. But also since it's Peter Jackson, he always films in those little quiet places in New Zealand and all that jazz. But this is The Frighteners. I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but
Michael J. Fox.
Yep, Michael J. Fox, and we have other cameo appearances from even like Lee Ermey, who naturally playing a drill sergeant ghost. But it's like he basically has become like a weird ghost hunter sort of person, but also kind of a shyster, as he uses some ghost friends to kind of scam people in a way. But at the same time, because it's like Peter Jackson, there's this is, I mean, it has a very dark. I mean, there's some comedy to it too, but it has such also this spooky element to it, because then you have Jake Busey going around as kind of he was a formerly serial killer, now basically Grim Reaper, that goes about and still in a way leaves number marks on people's foreheads as being the next victims to kill. And it's like I randomly stumbled upon this movie too. I don't remember how or where. I think it was probably on some of like those HBO movie channels or whatever. But I just stumbled, and I've always been a fan of Michael J. Fox. I've always loved his movies. And and John Aston, who was the cowboy ghost, was pretty hilarious in that. The old oh god, why am I forgetting the character's name now? But he was Gomez Adams originally. Yeah. No, John Aston for the TV show.
Oh, John Aston. Oh, yes, for the TV show. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, and named him. But no, I've always enjoyed this movie. It's like I said, it's Peter Jackson, early Peter Jackson, doing the thing that he does do best with horror and everything. Great elements to it. Like I said, it does have those really spooky bits to it, especially when they start getting to introducing more of the grim, basically the Jake Busey Grim Reaper character that comes in haunting everybody else, and they start unraveling more of the mystery. And Yeah, I it's just definitely one of my favorites, and like I said, it's I'd say leans more into the horror aspect than the comedy, but the comedy was very unexpected. I remember when the movie was first advertised, it was advertised as being like strictly a horror movie, and then you actually get to see it, and it's like, oh, there's a blend going on here. That's cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, that would be
Yeah.
my fitting at number 2.
Yeah, the box art on the VHS at the time was really cool too because I had one of the holographic box arts, and when you use it,
Yeah,
it
I
had
think I remember. Yeah, it has
the
the
face kind of
face.
go through the white.
Because that's what they did through one of the houses, is that he's like basically
Mhm.
crawling through the wallpaper. You just see the body form going through it and everything. It
Mhm.
was a pretty neat looking effect. Yeah, to Timone's point, some kind of cheesy CGI and stuff now, but I mean, even then,
Yeah.
I still think it's very serviceable. Works great. Um, and yeah, just certainly when I'm like, as far as I could know, like one of Michael J. Fox's kind of last leading roles, and not just being kind of more of a sport character. So it was fun to kind of get that last bit from him, and yeah, so
Yeah. No, that was a good one. Yeah, that's one of those movies that like if a lot of people, because again it was Michael J. Fox, did definitely saw it when it came out, but like now it's one of those kind of forgotten
it's
movies just
kind of
because it
yeah,
was okay kind of thing. But it's definitely one of those. If
it's
you
hit
have a
cult
chance,
status, I
watch it.
think.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right.
So, what was it? What did I miss from Filter?
My number 2 is The Frighteners from Peter Jackson with Michael J. Fox and
never even
Jake
heard of it.
Busey. Yeah, it's a good one.
Ooh, I have a movie to mention with Jake Busey in it, but we'll get to it later. So, and one thing I wanted to touch on was a great segue that I should have said, but I didn't know that Carl's was going to be the Mummy. Is that the guy who plays Igor in the Mummy is also the guy who plays that sniveling little bad guy in the Mummy. Sorry, Igor in Van Helsing plays the sniveling bad guy in the Mummy. It's the same actor.
Okay.
So I found that out last night when I was looking at the IMDb. I'm like, oh snap! I didn't realize. I was like, that voice sounded familiar, and that's why. So, all right. Is it you and I for our number 2s?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go.
All right. I'll finish off our number 2s then.
Yeah. So my number 2 continues the Ari Aster train, and this one is, besides the number 1 that I chose, obviously one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and that is Hereditary. First seeing the trailer and all that stuff already, I'm like, okay, cool. It's Ari Aster guy. I heard he does some scary stuff, but I really haven't watched anything. He did an online like a movie or something like that. I heard before it. I didn't get a chance to watch it, so I go in there and I watch. Nothing to expect out of it. So I expect just some scary family drama movie with the one little kid as kind of the main focus. And literally, I think maybe 20-30 minutes into the movie, next you know it, the brother goes to a party, brings her sister with, and then next to it drives home, and his sister's head just comes flying off because
that movie
gets hit by a electric pole and all that kind of stuff. So then, but before that, things start kind of, you knew things were going weird with the family because of some of the stuff that they're just not showing or telling and showing, but you were picking up on little things in the house. And obviously by the end of the movie, you figure out why they had why what was supposed to happen kind of switched it up. But yeah, there's that kind of stuff. It's another one of those ghosts kind of scary movies. There are so many random little things that you pick up on, like with the light and the family, and then again the brother that obviously killed his sister because of what happened. Then you've realized, oh no, there's like this neighbor that was involved with bringing back this deity kind of thing, and then there's just so many random things that pop up that one of the things that scared me the most was besides just him seeing visions in class, and then next he's breaking his nose in class, just because of this deity kind of thing. But the mom being possessed, it like later on in the movie where she's just calm as calm can be, and next you see this light, and then she just like stops and then just goes on this attack mode to the sun, and it is just surreal like how real like that kind of was. Just like it wasn't as like a possession movie where you see somebody crawling on the door, on the window, but kind of was like that, but just like how vicious the attacking was against the against the son, and then setting the father on fire just because we have to do something that way, and it was just another one of those random things. How everything was played with is like inside of a box, inside of a like so everything was played inside like a toy box, but like it wasn't just how it was filmed, so it just seemed like the spirit was obviously playing a game with this family, and it's just really weird how like he chooses to like move like direct stuff. Like Ari Aster, he can visualization is great. That's why I think I went to see Midsommar the set like after this, because I'm like Hereditary. I'm like I don't want to see this movie again, but why am I going to go see another movie? It's just because how he films things. It's really really fascinating, really good to see. But yeah, I learned my lesson after the second time. So you fool me once, all that kind of stuff. So. But yeah, Hereditary is another one of those movies I've seen once. I know enough about it. I've seen it, and I had seen all the things afterwards. But I'm like, no, I'm good. And yeah, it's if you are a fan of like just crazy scary movies and can see like that, and you haven't seen it, I recommend seeing it once. But I mean, it is one of those movies that you'll be like, oh, okay, I can see what he's talking about. There's just it's very, very good shot. Just scares the crap out of me for some,
All right. Yep. Another one that surprise, I haven't seen.
Oh, and again,
I've heard about it though.
Yeah, a lot of the ones you've heard about.
I'm like, oh, I've heard about that one.
Yeah, a lot of the ones like I said you've heard, but I can again for what you're saying, you would if I'm only gonna watch it once, I cannot see you watching it once, kind of thing.
So, all right. So for my number 2 is definitely on the lighter end of the spectrum, but I was going to go with a different movie in this franchise because it's definitely my favorite in the franchise, but it's got a little bit of spooky factor, but it's way too much of an action movie. So I was like, I'll go more to the spooky end, but not complete to the spooky end. And this is a franchise that I did already mention, that I saw once, and it was like the scariest movie I've ever seen, and I have no plans to watch it again. But it's not that one. And I know a lot of people hate this movie, but I really like it. And we're talking about the Alien universe. But the one that everybody, and we're not talking about actual Alien, though. We're talking about Alien versus Predator.
Oh, okay, good. Never mind.
I love this movie. It's
almost had me there. I'm not gonna lie.
Which one did you think I was gonna say?
We don't speak about that.
Okay, I'm not even sure which one you're referring to, but yeah, I know. I don't really understand why. I think Fractured. I think we talked about this not that long ago. Maybe it was on top 5 spooky video games. Oh, it probably was because we were talking about the Alien vs Predator video game.
Yeah.
Alien vs Predator, the movie, gets so much hate. I don't get it, but like I said, I don't have a huge interest in the Alien franchise. The one I was originally going to say was Predator, but that's just way too much of an action movie, even though it does have a little bit of spooky elements. So that's why I went more the Alien route. But Alien's scary. I don't really want to watch the Alien movies, but I liked Alien vs Predator a lot, and I'd be happy to watch it again. I've watched it a few times. It's been a very long time since I've seen it, but it takes place. If the xenomorphs are obviously much more scary than the Predator is, but they're trapped in a pyramid under the ice of Antarctica, and it's basically all in pitch black the whole time, and they're surviving against xenomorphs. So I'd say it's spooky enough. And yeah, the movie gets a lot of hate. I think it's because, like Fracture said last time, the like graphic novel or the comic books are really good, and this didn't do any justice to those. I've never read any of those, so I have no background in that. But I really enjoyed this movie, despite people may have issues with it. I thought it was great. I liked it. And so, yeah, it's spooky enough that I think it qualifies for a spooky movie, but it's one that I actually like, unlike the Alien movies. So, Alien vs Predator, is my number 2, and yep, I will take on your booze. Like I said, I'm not saying this is a great list. It's just this is a spooky movies that I enjoy. So I will take that boo happily. So,
Boo.
I would,
Boo. Hiss. Hiss.
if I had the clip, I'd play it again. Boo this man. But yeah, I like that movie despite people hating it. I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but I enjoy it. So
There you go.
all
Oops, there it
right.
is.
So, all right. Well, that brings us into our honorable mentions. So, who wants to go first?
You know what? I'm gonna shake the world here. I'll give you my number 5 as my number honorable mention. How's that sound?
Perfect. And Timon's saying that if one of the Conjurings isn't on someone's list, the whole stream is a sham.
First off,
It's surprise.
are
It's not
bad.
on my list. I've never seen them, and I never will.
you will. We're gonna capture you, Neo.
Good luck with that.
We're gonna prop you in a movie theater like it's Clockwork Orange. You're gonna
I've
be
seen
like, no.
Clockwork Orange me into watching these movies.
Strap his eyes open and away we go.
And then we're gonna play the Mass Effect music. You're gonna be like, not Mass Effect music. My number 5, though, I'm gonna go with a classic movie more than anything else. The original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white version of that one in particular.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got like a very love-hate relationship with Of the Dead series, obviously. You got like the original runs, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, VHS of the Dead, I think. No, not VHS. Well, I think it is VHS of the Dead or Camera of the Dead, something like that. And then, of course, there's the return of the Night of the Living Dead, which is
Of the.
yeah. Which, if you haven't seen that, that's a very 80s over the top Night of the Living Dead movie where the zombies actually don't die when you cut off their heads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it kind of changes up that formula a little bit. But I'm gonna go with the original black and white one, not the remakes or anything like that. Even though the remake is really good. The original black and white one, for some reason, just sticks out with me so much more because it just feels like. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say the first remake is just basically the original movie, just practically colorized.
Color. Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just think the black and white one, without it being in color, just for some reason, it just feels like it hits that tone even more.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It like the colored version, the remake of it, whatever you want to call it, like it is really good too. But I don't know, something about like the black and white one when they open the scene and it's the brother and sister and they're going to the cemetery and then he's just like messing with his sister like, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Right there.
And then it's just like, look, he's coming right now. And then like, he's just messing around. That's the first zombie you meet. It's just there's no big build up. There's not like anything out of it. It's just so simplistic.
It just
and
comes in, yeah.
just goes right to it. And then just all hell breaks loose. And like the more interesting part about it was I think this is like one of the first, like you could say like where Walking Dead got their inspiration for a lot of their storytelling was the zombies really weren't the issue. It was the people who were surviving inside of this house,
Well, that's like a lot of what it always boils down to. Is like it's more the human beings the human beings are the real monsters, not the zombies that are trying to eat your brains.
The real,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it,
along the way.
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's true. I mean, like, yes, they can get like gang up and get you, but I mean, they're a slow moving like force. Yes, when they get into together, that's when you have to be careful. But yeah, it's when people are trying to solve the problem.
So I want to push back on this. Zombies are scary when they're like
They are.
Dawn of the Dead remake zombies where they just
No, they did
sprint
something
at you.
completely- Yeah, that.
Fast zombies.
Fast
Yeah,
zombies,
that's-
yeah.
But that's not what they used to be. Like when they started doing that, you're like, all right, this is insane.
Yeah.
I
Like,
will agree.
Listen, I'm not going to be out running a zombie, all right? I'm going to be honest with you. I got a bum knee. I got asthma. I ain't out running a zombie, okay? I'm just saying this just to kind of sidetrack, though, because this will kind of like all encompass my, honorable mentions. I'm just going to do the Night of the Living Dead stuff like that. It's like when you see like the James Gunn remake and everything else for Dawn of the Dead, and this is like a 400-pound fat lady in a wheelbarrow. She just comes up as a zombie and she's sprinting like an Olympic gymnast. I'm like, I'm boned, all right? You know, I'm just so boned. I ain't that this woman could not do that as like a normal person, but as a zombie, she can't. We're screwed. It's like, how are we even gonna live this? You know?
And like the super jumps that they're doing as well. Like, no thanks.
Yeah. But like I said, it's just the black and white version of Night and Living Dead for sure. Just always like feels like it hits that perfect tone of just like, you know, what a classic horror movie should really feel like. It's just black and white, minimal sound design, a lot of tension in the air. The monsters kind of are like there, but they're not really like the main focus of it. Like so much so, it's just a quintessential, just like, you know, everyone can look at obviously the universal like monster trios. But I feel like Night and Living Dead is like an honorary member to that just lineup there. Like the dead girl, the zombie girl is like an iconic image for a lot of horror stuff out there. So I wanted to give it its due there.
That's my favorite horror movie of all time. So I agree with you 100% on at least being on the list. It's not on mine because again, it's not super scary.
It was the number one on your other spooky list.
It was my number one on my other list. Yeah, that is my favorite. that's like the one movie I can just sit and watch over and over and over again, just because I pick up on other things too. Like, to me, no offense to Barbara, she deserved to die. I mean, she knew her brother was in trouble and she was hysteric the whole freaking movie, enough where she got punched, knocked out a couple times. And then her brother comes up to the house and it's like, oh, hey, it's you. And then she just dies because she saw her brother again and thought her brother was fine when she was being hysterical. So I was like, all right, yeah, you're good. All right, cool, go. You deserve to be gone.
Yeah, well, on top of that too, her brother dies right away, not because the zombie bites him, but because he smashes his head on a tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's like one of the more iconic things. It's not like the people getting eaten isn't until the car blows up and they start eating them, you know?
Yep. Yeah. And again, like, you don't even see when they're alive, they get eaten. Like I can never remember the little girl's name right now, but the way she kills his mom, she grabs a
spade. Yeah,
a garden spade and just starts stabbing her down in the basement kind of thing. And it's just like, okay. It's very, like I said, it's very good.
Yeah.
Very
and George Romero and I forget the special effects artist that he has for him, but like the later incarnations from like Dawn of the Dead to Day of the Dead and, you know, Land of the Dead, like just as like gruesome way they kill people in later iterations of these movies.
Are you talking about Tom Savini?
Tom Savini, that's it. I couldn't remember his name. He's very, very famous special effects artist.
Oh yeah, Tom Savini's great.
But like all of his movies are obviously like social commentaries on stuff, you know. Dawn of the Dead takes place in a mall. Land of the Dead is like a military base and everything else like that. One of my favorite scenes is the main bad guy in Day of the Dead when he's finally getting killed by zombies and they're just eating his intestines and he just goes, choke on them, choke on them. You know, like there's like some really memorable moments in there, for sure. And I just like it, like I said. And just I guess a quick wrap up so I could get other people out of the way. All the original Universal classics and the Poe trilogy, not the Poe trilogy, the Poe universe, if you don't know what that one is. Right now, Angry Video Game Nerd is doing his Monster Madness, and he's talking about the Edgar Allan Poe set of movies by Roger Corman, where Vincent Price pretty much played different characters in different Edgar Allan Poe movies, tales that they adapted into movies. My favorite one out of them is The Raven, and it's because it's got Peter Lorre, Vincent Price, and Boris Karloff all in that movie with a young Jack Nicholson.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's like one of those like weird, wacky, funny movies where it's just like the only thing that has to do with like the Raven is they read part of the like poem at the beginning, and then it just teeters off into a giant duel of wizards. You got to watch it. It's a fun, just thrill ride. It's not really spooky, but I gotta mention it. It's pretty good.
So while we were talking about zombies not being scary unless they're fast zombies, dude saying you don't need to outrun a zombie, you just need to outrun the people you're with. So I don't need to outrun the bear, I only need to outrun you.
Yeah.
And Night of the Living Dead doesn't follow traditional horror movie standards. The black guy survives the longest.
But he does die in the end.
Them's the facts.
Yeah, he does.
Funny.
You know, that's another thing too. I think that was also kind of like a controversy too, because the main character during that time was a black guy.
Oh yeah, that was
This movie was 68.
yeah.
That's what
It
you're
was
talking about,
like
right?
60 something.
Yep.
Yeah, another one I didn't realize it was that old.
It's public domain, I think now.
I believe so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and there was like a controversy with like the two people who made the original Night of the Living Dead, because like I think George Romero had Of the Dead and The Night Of went to a different guy. So
Yeah, there was a weird like brand split almost between him and the other creator, and so then you started having the two different zombie iterations going on.
yeah, it's like so like Return of the Night of the Living Dead, which is like a pure 80s movie of just like craziness.
Yeah, Return of the Living Dead.
It is it's like a completely different movie and tone and everything comparatively to speak of like the other Of the Dead series, you know.
And I think that was the Return of the Living Dead was where you first get the whole like, them eating brains and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have like the talking zombies that tell you that they eat brains because they hate feeling themselves decompose. It's the one where the gas leaks and like everything starts to come back to life. So there's like a dog that's like cut in half because they work at like a medical dissection facility, where cadavers and everything are stored.
Yeah.
And there's like a scene where like this dog starts barking and they go to check out the dog and it's like a dissected in half dog that's like breathing and barking and everything, and they try to kill it and they're just whacking it. These two like goobers that just are just like the night crew. It is intense, it is funny, and it is creepy as hell.
All right. I think I'll go ahead and go off that for my honorable mentions, because a couple of them are ones that were already mentioned. The Mummy, talked about that earlier. I really need to watch that one again because I haven't watched it in forever, but that was a fun movie. And yeah, not scary. I think I saw it in Timon was saying in chat while you're talking about it. Yeah, not scary, but definitely spooky. It's about mummies, so I think it definitely qualifies. And then we're just talking about it a little bit, but the you have to clarify, because I think we talked about this on last top 5, but the 2004 Dawn of the Dead, that was Zack Snyder.
Snyder and James Gunn.
And James Gunn did it together, because I didn't.
Yes.
That's right. I didn't know James Gunn was involved with that until you told me on the last episode, and I was like, I didn't even know he was attached to that.
Yes,
but,
that's not shocking. I didn't find out about that until like 2 years ago. I think he did like the writing for that one.
Okay.
Or something. I can't remember. I just know that Zack Snyder was like the lead, and then it was like it's like one of those like, and did you know James Gunn worked with him? I'm like, no, I didn't. And it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, James Gunn is listed as one of the writers along with George Romero, at least on IMDb.
So there you go. Fun fact of the day.
So I think that might have been like the first zombie movie someone ever made me watch, and for the most part, I liked it. I thought the ending sucked, but as a zombie movie, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think
you didn't like them being on the boat.
Well,
I hated that part so much.
I just hated it was all pointless.
I liked the part when they were playing chess with the gun shop owner across the street. I thought that was a good part.
That was great. And then another zombie one that I remember, this one I actually saw in theater, and that was World War Z. I know it was like very drastically removed from the actual book, which I know nothing about, but I did enjoy that movie, and I thought the I don't know if you want to call it a twist or not, but the like solution at the end was a pretty interesting take. and it made sense in that universe. But yeah, I remember that one was kind of freaking me out. You know, I think it was the first time. Well, was Dawn of the Dead 2004? Was that Fast Zombies? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I remember World War Z being Fast Zombies, and I was like, oh, that would suck.
World War Z is like insect zombies where they just pile up on each other and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, you know, it's like next level insane, you know?
And then I hope I don't steal anybody's number one, but probably one of the best zombie comedies, and that's Shaun of the Dead.
Good one.
It's not my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy. My favorite is Hot Fuzz, and that could arguably fit since it's basically a slasher movie. But
The great are good.
Hot
Greats
Fuzz
are
is my
good.
favorite of the three. But Shaun of the Dead definitely falls in this category much more so than the others. But Shaun of the Dead is fun.
Yeah,
so
Shaun of the Dead is on my honorable mentions as well.
okay, so I had to I had to give it some love. So
I love
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, man. That's like probably the best parody movie out there.
so
Well, that's like the thing. It plays the balance very well of, yeah, it's kind of parroting the zombie movies and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's doing enough to still be kind of its own zombie movie on top of it. Just
Mhm.
there's some extra ludicrousness going on as they especially go around whacking the zombies with the cricket bats and stuff like that. And
Yeah, to the beat
throwing
of
the-
Queen.
yeah. It's kind of like unintentional comedy almost, like especially if you look at it like in a real world perspective. They're like just trying to figure out how to kill these damn things. And it's like,
Very
how do we
British.
do it? Yes,
Best way to say it,
yes.
very British style
Very
of comedy.
British. Yep.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Shaun of the Dead too, that it takes pretty much the world to end for how they were setting up that world to change, because like when the movie starts, you see all these same people that end up becoming zombies, but they're walking to their job doing the same thing over and
Mhm.
over and over again. You know, Sean is, you know, going to work, just doing the same thing over and over and over again, you know, not really having a life. And, you know, like we're going to, you know, the same bar, we're going to, you know, the same this and this and that. But when the world ends, it's like, oh, now we have to kind of grow up and change what we need to do to kind of survive what's going on.
Yeah, and just the whole plan still is when they even put it out there. The
Sure.
opening scene, like you said, he does his morning routine, and then when everything goes to hell, he does his morning routine again, and he's just so oblivious to the world
Yeah.
that he's just walking past zombies, people dead, and everything, and he's just like so stuck in his routine of just being like in this dead end, you know, world. That he just keeps like just trucking through it. You know, obviously every zombie movie is like a social commentary in some way,
Right.
and that's like the finest example of just like it's a social commentary. Of like you're so used to like just being stuck in this like routine of like life not changing, nothing exciting happening, that like a zombie apocalypse could happen, and it would take a while for you to notice.
Well, and it's funny too, because like he's basically walking by doing his usual routine, and even then, none of the zombies really take notice of him as he's just doing his normal thing until he gets back, and then they start causing trouble. Then they start picking up, oh, these are normal people, we gotta kill them.
And then the
like-
other best thing about Shaun of the Dead too, sorry to interrupt, but I can never remember the lady character, but when they're eventually they're going to the Winchester and they pass the person that they know, and he's like they have their group
Yeah.
that looks almost identical. The other one was like, and she's like, oh, where are you going? Oh, we're going to the Winchester because, you know, this stuff. And she's like, well, all right, good. You know,
Good
kind of
luck.
like good luck and all that stuff. And then they pass and they're like almost the same people, but it's like, yeah, why don't you just follow that? You know, it's always just funny to kind of, you could have just had a bigger group. Why didn't you go with them?
So, yep, that's my list of honorable mentions. Pretty small since, you know, this isn't really my genre. So, but I thought since Filter, I think you said you like Shaun of the Dead, I figured that'd
Yeah.
be a good segue into your honorable mentions.
I mean, yeah, it was Shaun of the Dead, and then I was like, oh, what else can I kind of throw on there? And I'm like, oh well, I remembered, you know, there's Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which is another kind of horror comedy
Never
spoofish sort of
heard
thing.
of that one.
You'd have fun with that one.
It's a fun one. It's like it's trying to set up the trope of hillbilly murders, but then it just ends up turning into
They're just accidents.
A bunch of literal accidents. It's a great a bunch of string of events that happens.
Oh, it's got Alan Tudyk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot of fun. It's like it's one of those backyard, back thing kind of like murder or stuff like that. But they go into it, but they're not really murders. There's just unfortunate events that happen with them in front of them, and then there's people on the outside like, wait, why are you killing them? It's like we're not. We're trying to pull this person
They're
out.
killing. These kids are killing themselves.
Yeah. These kids are just jumping into the wood chipper. Why are these kids jumping into wood chippers?
I gotta check this out.
I gotta watch that again one of these days. It's been a hot minute. I mean, otherwise, that was you stole my other one.
Sorry.
How dare you? But I did have I mean, you could also like throw on there like the actually, you know what? I'll bring this one up as an honorable mention because this was like I think I had been up late and my mom was watching it. It's basically another one of those movies that was trying to kind of right off the back of Jaws, and it's called Orca.
Huh? I thought you were gonna say
where it's no. This is just kind of like I said, it was trying to kind of write off the back a bit of Jaws, but it's of course a killer whale that is the thing that they have to deal with, and the thing that ends up happening is like essentially like an unfortunate string of events essentially for these guys that capture a whale, and the female whale.
Do they have to get it to the moon?
No. It's the whale basically has like a premature birth and the baby dies. And it's a string of like horrific sounds on top of it. It's a very visceral sounds that that has stuck into my brain. And then the male killer whale is basically then on a vendetta to get revenge. And it's a little more straightforward, but like it has the original actor of Dumbledore in it as a young man, of course. And like I said, the beginning especially is what always stuck with me, but then it is just basically it's Jaws but with a killer whale involved.
It's Free Willy Jaws edition.
Cocaine whale.
Kind of.
Oh, 1977. Wow, that's
like I said, writing
that's
right
older.
off the back of Jaws and everything.
That just reminds me of the orca whale that killed 3 people at SeaWorld.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. But otherwise, for like anything else, really, I mean, you can always throw in the original, Jaws as kind of one of those horror spooky.
I had a few shark movies that I was like, I want to put on this list, but I don't think they're spooky enough.
I mean, I'd say the original Jaws fits the bill a lot better than certainly after the fact. Other than if you want to say,
is the best one.
I was just gonna say as horrifically bad as with Jaws: The Revenge, but otherwise,
the one where they jumped the shark, but
literally, yeah. They basically spear the shark at the end of the movie. Oh God,
Shark was a metaphor for man all along.
It got Michael Caine a beautiful house. Otherwise, that's all I got for that.
All right. I think Jason, we still need yours.
Yeah. So pretty much during this whole show, only 2 movies out of both lists that I had weren't mentioned, so I'm just gonna mention them now.
Okay.
Don't know where they are, but 2 movies that would be on my honorable mentions were on my 2 lists. One of them is Cloverfield. When that movie first came out, I absolutely loved it. I think I saw it in theaters 3 times. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I absolutely love that movie. I wanted to know more about the ones that were in the subway, because when that girl exploded behind the tent, I was like, what the freak? Like, what? Like, that never explained anything. Like, she got bit and then they freak out and then she explodes. It's like,
yeah, that I do agree with you on that one. It's like, what happened? I want to know.
They used nothing to explain that except for just like her eyes bleed. She said she's not feeling well, and then they freak out. I'm like, that was to me. I was like, what the heck? That was really awesome. And granted, those are the things that came off of the big, the big monster's back. So I was like, that's cool. And so yeah, that one I absolutely loved. And again, who doesn't like a big monster, terrorizing city? Those kind of like.
I would have
Kong,
liked that
Godzilla
more if it
monkeys.
wasn't for all the shaky cam.
Yeah, the shaky cam
I
was
see that.
what kind of got me, and I didn't really care for it personally. Like
I enjoyed it just because of like when something bad happened, they cut to like the previous time, so you got to see, their relationship kind of failing. You get to see them. You get to see the egg or whatever come from space into the water when they're on the Ferris wheel and everything. So there's just kind of some cool little things with that. But yeah, it is one of those shaky cam movies. So I can definitely, I definitely I can understand that one. And then my last one, I don't know why this movie was fun for me to watch, but I enjoyed the movie Joyride. If you've never seen that one,
I have seen that one.
That's another one. I absolutely love that movie.
I saw it once, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's just another fun, like, this is why you don't mess with CB radios and talk to people that you don't know, and mess with people that drive all day, because maybe
never
one
talk
of
to
them,
strangers. Never talk
yeah,
to
maybe one
strangers.
of them just wants to rip your jaw out, one of those kind of things. So
I lived with a trucker for like 20 years of my life. I'm good.
yeah,
Nothing scares me anymore.
Hey, all right. So Timon and I has not agreed with my list, but at least we can agree on this.
All of the shaky cam.
The shaky cam.
So no Blair Witch.
I've
I
never
would.
seen.
I
any of
definitely
those
watch
movies. I didn't care.
Cloverfield over Blair Witch.
So has everybody heard the like theory of Blair Witch? The like not the later on kind of thing, but with the I can't remember the two guys' names, but the theory that those were they were playing up the Blair Witch because those two wanted to kill the girl kind of thing, and that was their way to take her out in the woods and kill her.
I did not hear that part.
I don't know
Yeah.
almost anything.
But it's
about
already better than the plot of the Blair Witch.
Yeah. So what it was is like there was
the
the Blair Witch
to actually kill someone.
I wish
you
it
know
would
what?
have.
Yeah. So the Blair Witch thing was they were using that as like, because that was part of like the myth of the woods and all this stuff. But the two were trying to get her out there to make this documentary because they wanted to kill her. So they used that, and then that's why like when they lose the map, they were like, you had the map, and then they're like fighting over who had the map because who would go and throw the map in the water kind of thing. And then there's just some like if you watch it with this kind of like that theory, and then the guy staring at the wall, and then the person who attacked her at the end of the movie was the actual guy that was lost. And then like the teeth were they were talking about something with teeth, or it's I have to watch the theory thing, but with the teeth, it wasn't really like his teeth that were wrapped up or whatever. So like there's just random little things that are like saying like those two were just trying to get her out in the woods so they could find a way to murder her, and that Blair Witch was the thing. And like if you watch it that way, it's like, oh man, that's actually kind of interesting. But if you watch it with just like, oh no, it's just a ghost movie, it's like, okay,
less interesting. Gotcha.
He says it was a snooze fest.
There was also, speaking of witches, there was a movie called The Witch.
The one with 2 V's.
Yeah, that movie was terrible. Everyone kept saying like this is mind-breaking horror, and I watched it. I was like, this sucks. Who said like this is so great? It's just like one of those movies where it's like, listen, I'm desensitized to violence at this point, and it kind of takes a lot to scare me. I kind of just laugh more at horror movies now than like get scared. But I'm just like watching this, and I'm like, this isn't even good like psychological thriller. It's just bad.
Would you say another series of movies that I think is kind of polarizing, that I think a lot of people would say kind of fits that category as well, but was insanely popular and made tons of money, was, what were they? Paranormal Activity.
Oh God.
Were those terrible?
Oh, horribly.
Boring
Okay.
as well.
The only
Talk
time
about
I got
snooze
scared
fest.
was the girl behind me screaming, because that actually scared me. I remember watching it with my buddy Ryan, and we're like, this is boring. And then this girl just like, there was like one scene, she went, ah, and I'm like, oh.
He's scared by the people around you, not by the
Yeah,
actual movie.
the one with the goat. Yeah, that was super boring. Yeah, that's exactly right there, Timo.
So, all right.
Man, there's just so many horror movies and spooky movies that we just did not cover. Like this could
Well,
easily have been like a part 2, part 3, part 4. You know, there's just so many good ones.
Oh, we can definitely do another one.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily have to wait till next October, but it definitely makes the most sense at this time of year, obviously. So, all right. Well, that will bring us into our number ones. So, is anybody dying to go first? Haha.
I will go first because I think if you use process of elimination, you can probably already guess what my number one is. So my number one was mentioned earlier, and I said it will probably be showing up a little bit sooner. Yep. So my number one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw, that's right. I know which one you're referring to, but I don't remember what it was.
Like, wait, what? Which one did he mentioned it earlier?
Yeah. This movie absolutely terrifies me. The one scene that lives like rent free in my brain, unfortunately, is this. For who has seen the movie and who hasn't seen it, is when it's not like, again, the crazy thing about the movie, not a lot of blood, anything like that. Chainsaws are loud, and it's an audible scare that just kind of like it scares me in a way. So I'm one of those people. If you just start a chainsaw, I'm like, okay, can you just get that away from me, kind of thing. But that's not the part.
Yeah, I think most people would say I don't want a chainsaw near me.
Yeah. But anyway, the one that scares me and lives rent free in my brain is when the guy is in the house, and
I think I know where you're going. Sorry.
Yeah, and he takes the mallet and just smashes it in the back of his head, and you're like, okay, that sucks, but that's not just how the scene ends. Gets smashed in the back of the head, he goes down, and literally 5-6 seconds goes by, and he just has these convulsions on the ground because if you got hit in the back of the head with a mallet, you're not just going down and just falling asleep. No, like you just got whacked.
Traumatic brain injury.
Exactly. And the way that it's shot and the way that it's performed, it's like, holy freaking, like, like, again, one of those things that scare me the most is if something like feels real to me, that just gets on my side. I'm like, no, that's kind of like, I'm good, kind of thing like that. Again, when they're at the dinner scene, when, you realize what they're, doing, and with the, the family and all the body parts and all the things that they're doing, it's like, nope, I'm good, kind of thing like that. And then obviously having a big imposing force like Leatherface chasing, these people down and being one of the most, like, being an intimidating force, but again, not being the most because the family's just as scary as a guy that's wielding a chainsaw, trying to do everything. So, I mean, yeah, that movie I've seen one time, and as I'm watching, I'm like, I'm good. And it left such an impression on me that, like, I can still know the parts of these movies that I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, that movie to me is just absolutely insane. It's done very well. And again, there's like no blood in the movie, which is insanity to me. Because you tell somebody like, oh yeah,
earlier, it's not as gory as you think it would be.
No. It's done such a way you're like, oh yeah, it's just really bloody, scary movie. It's like, no. It is a, like, when we did top 5 spooky movies, like, that was my just number one. Like, it is, everything about the movie is just uneasy, just tension. You just don't want to be like where these, these characters are, like, you just don't want them to be there, and you don't want to be there with them. And it's just because, there's just no good coming from that area. So yeah, it is, to me, well, by far the most spooky, scary, any word you want to use, movie ever to be shot, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those creepy movies that, like, always makes you worry about breaking down while driving your car on the road,
Yep.
Like, it does hit that atmosphere of everyone's been on a road trip, and you drive by, like, giant fields of farmland, and there's nothing around, but there's always that one random broken down looking house that you could tell just, like, old people live there and they don't take care of it anymore.
Yep, and then they have that barn just a few distance away, and you're like, yeah, no, that's what speed limit's 65. All right, we're gonna push our luck with 75. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, and one of the scenes is at the end too when Leatherface cuts his leg with the chainsaw, and you just see fat come out. It's not blood; it's like the fat of his leg.
Ugh.
Oh,
That
jeez.
like that whole end scene, like the actress, I don't know her name, but like just when she like you just like that's the epitome of like this is what hell looks like. You know what I mean? Like the only other time I can ever think of like a look that just like perfectly encapsulates like her look at the end of the movie is like war movies when you see them just coming back from like active duty where they're just so traumatized, so dirty, so shell shocked, and it's just you just see it and it's just insane. It's just like the perfect like image to see. It's like there's Leatherface who's like the real shock value, which he doesn't even use his chainsaw that much, you know?
He dances with it.
Yeah, like he only kills I think one person with the chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the guy in a wheelchair. And it's amazing he lasted that long in a wheelchair.
Okay, so I pulled it up here on IMDb. I had no idea. Are we talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Original.
Yeah, original.
I did not know this one from 1974 even existed until just now. The only one I knew of was the one from 2003 with Jessica Biel. I did not realize.
no.
No.
So, like I said, this isn't my genre, so I don't know a lot about these.
Yeah.
These type of
No,
movies.
the 70 one is just
A lot of horror movies, I think, peaked in like the 90s and back is like when horror was like the best. That's just my opinion. This is the only time I agree with Fractured on stuff. Newer stuff is usually bad.
So, and Nerdporial is here. What's up, Nerdporial? Saying you don't watch movies. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies over the years, but lately I haven't watched much because I game when and then the little bit of time I do watch stuff, it's Stargate. So, and that's all that's all Fractured Filter's fault because he started on episode 1 back early this year.
Yeah,
so
I did.
It's all his fault that I'm rewatching it for the the first time. So
you're welcome.
I thank you for that because it's great. I love it just as much as I did back then.
Oh yeah, same.
So I'll go ahead and go next with my number one so that Filter and Carl can probably close us off with some actual spooky number one. So this is another one.
Hi, Brian. I see you going at me in there. I'll acknowledge you.
So I'm ready for more of Timon's booze and anyone else who's probably going to boo me. But so I this could very well not count as a spooky movie. I think it's close enough. It's a murder mystery. People are getting picked off one by one. So I'd say that's kind of in the vein of like like a Halloween movie. Wouldn't say it's a slasher movie, but people are dying left and right. And so that's why I think it's close enough to qualify as a spooky movie. Not really scary, but spooky. So I'll preface it like that. I know I'll probably get some more hate. This is probably my my Jason take of Dead Cells being a Metroidvania.
Hey, everything it says it is now. I'm getting all ever place saying like, yeah, it is. I'm like, all right, cool. I wasn't wrong.
So
see, I'm right because people that say the other thing, they say it's not a roguelike. So Dead Cells is just
more of a roguelike than it is a Metroidvania. But anyways,
so the roguelike, hold on. The roguelike people say it's not a roguelike, and then the Metroidvania people say it's not a Metroidvania. So where does it live? Is it just not either?
It's in this limbo state between the two genres. Anyways, so this is a movie I saw. I don't remember the first time I saw it. I only saw it once, but I really, really liked it. And I probably saw it maybe 15 years ago. And I think we might have mentioned it on last top 5. And I was like, I really got to watch this again before next top 5 to see if it's as good as I remember. And it is. It was great. I love it. There are 2 major twists near the end. There's one at about 15 minutes left in the movie, and there's one at about like the very last scene of the movie. I remembered the twist at the very end of the movie, but I had completely forgotten about the twist. It's about 15 minutes before the end of the movie. And it's so I'll just say Identity. Has anyone seen Identity?
No.
Because if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's definitely more in the psychological thriller category than it is an actual spooky movie, but it is people are dying left and right, and there's they're trapped in a motel, and each time someone
Yes.
dies, there's a key, and it's counting down to like how many people are left.
Cusack's in it, right?
What Cusack? Yeah, John Cusack's
Yes, I've
the
seen
main
it.
character.
Cusack, Alfred
Ray Liotta's in
Molina.
it as well. John
Yep.
C. McGinnis. Those are the biggest names, I think. John
Jake
Hawks, if you know
Busey.
him. It is like it's not terribly spooky, but people are getting picked off left and right, so it's scary in that it's survival type of way. It is a great movie with some great plot twists, and like I said, the one of the plot twists I had completely forgotten about. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't want to spoil it because it's a great movie, so I highly recommend anyone go and watch it. But yeah, I'd say if you haven't seen Identity, go watch it. It's not that long. It's not. I think it's like an hour and a half. It's pretty short, and it's great. So I just rewatched it again for the first time since I saw it when it was relatively new, just 2 days ago, and it was just as great as I remember it. Great movie with great plot twists. Definitely go see it, or not go see it because it came out in like 2004 or something. But great movie. I love this movie, and watching it for the second time maybe love it even more. So I definitely recommend Identity, and I don't really want to get into any of the plot details as to not spoil anything because it's got some great plot twists. But yeah, people get trapped at a motel in like the middle of nowhere during a storm, and everyone's got skeletons in the closet, so to speak, and they're all people start dying, and obviously they're trying to figure out who it is, and they're all scared for their life. And whoever's killing them is leaving basically, the keys to the hotel rooms, counting down with the bodies, it's just great. So, yeah. See, I knew Simone was going to say not a spooky movie, so I say it's very much on the verge because it's a murder mystery.
It's a thriller.
People are dying. It's more of a thriller. I'll definitely give you that. It's spooky-ish. So, like I said, not my genre, so I don't have a lot to pick from that I say I really like, but I really like this movie. So, I will take your booze, but I think it's a great movie.
I'm done booing you. I've seen what makes you laugh.
You are a boo. How are you out of booze?
Exactly.
So, I'll let Carl and Filter finish us off with what I assume are actually spooky movies.
Filter, I'll go first. How's that sound?
Okay, sounds good. You go.
I already spoiled my number one. I'm just gonna say it. It is John Carpenter's The Thing.
There it is.
There
I'm just sticking with that one. It's probably in my top 3 movies of all time in general because I just love the Cronenberg monsters in this movie so much. The isolation, the body horror, as you probably have guessed from me saying Evil Dead and other things. I did change some stuff on the fly just to kind of make it more interesting now. But like, I love those over the top, sick, twisted monsters and body horror. And The Thing is just like so perfectly done in that aspect. Just, you don't know who becomes the monster. You don't know what the monster will do. Obviously, it's just chaotic. Like anything could become the Thing, like a little drop of blood is like this giant space, this can become space alien from outer space that morphs and changes and twists and just, there's like the one scene where they're trying to bring somebody back to life and he's going to plunge into the guy with the paddles, and then it just, his body opens up to become a giant mouth and bites off his arms. And then like a dude's head falls off and becomes a spider, and he's like, "You got to be shitting me!" It's just like it's just so insane, Like
you see it grow. That's the crazy thing. You just see the head just grows into a spider.
It is so crazy how these like just like puppets and practical effects and everything, even though like you could tell that they kind of aren't real, they just still feel real in that universe,
Well, that's kind of what adds
they're becoming
the
aliens.
That's like the alien feeling to it all. So it's just like that's why that I'd say those practical effects still work like that. Yeah, they look alien, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah, and it's just like there's not like an over the top story to it. it's kind of very linear. Obviously, they did make a prequel of it to kind of explain it later on in life. I haven't seen that one because the first one is just so good. I don't want to explain to me. I just kind of want to.
And they did a comic too. They did a comic of that was like sequel, kind of more of a sequel to the series.
There was
They did a comic, and they also did a video game
as well.
too.
Yeah,
I don't know anything
If
about
you
the
own
game.
that one as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the game because I figured you'd probably played it.
I haven't played it in forever, so I couldn't tell you about it. You know.
It wasn't
ever
original
called to
Xbox
Night
game,
Dive.
right?
I think is
Yes,
Night Dive is doing
And-
like a remaster or something like that for it.
they are. And plus, it's got two of my favorite actors are in this movie too: Kurt Russell and Keith David.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Keith David.
Does
And Kurt Russell.
Yes,
thanks
a
to
very young
Stargate.
Keith David.
any of the like sequel stuff like say if Childs or McCready was any of them, or did they just keep that as a you have to decide on your own kind of thing?
I
like-
don't know
Like
because,
the
like I
ending
said,
of
I
Inception. What were they really? in
I
the
didn't
prequel?
try to look into anything of that.
Okay.
I just wanted to keep it as like this is a solitary story.
Yeah, I never want. That's one thing. Like usually, like oh man, I want to know. I'll look into it. Like, is it Childs? Is it like McCready? Did they finally be one? Like that's one thing that I never want to be answered. Ever.
Yes, and that's like the best part about the ending too. is
I was gonna
Kurt
say
Russell
not everything needs an answer. I'd say.
This
See,
one
I'm one of those
definitely
people.
doesn't.
I'm one of those people like I want an answer, but this is
Oh,
like the only thing. This is
I
the only
agree.
thing that like I don't care. Like sometimes I think it's like McCready is one and Childs isn't because that's why Childs has that flash. Try to give him a drink because I don't remember if Childs takes the drink and he's like, here, drink this to kind of like show it's like if it wasn't the real thing that was in there kind of thing. So I don't know. There's just so many awesome things about it. That's why I never want it to be answered ever.
Leave it
I
ambiguous.
just kind of believe that they both died of exposure. That's what I just go with.
Right.
It's just like they knew they were boned. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So,
Like
go
on.
ahead.
no, finish your point.
Oh no, I was going to change topic on something. So if you go ahead.
Now, I just gotta say, if you are a fan of movie special effects, if you're a fan of horror, and just like I said, this is more than just a horror movie to me. This is like cinema to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love it so much. It blends, a genre that I think a lot of people kind of overlook a lot of times for like cinematics. And John Carpenter, obviously legendary director, made Halloween as well. Can't forget that. That's pretty much where he got started, as well as a bunch of other movies. I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but like Assault on Precinct 9, I think it was.
13.
That's another big one.
13.
13, yeah.
I
District
haven't
9,
seen
I
the
think.
original, but I did see the one with Lawrence Fishburne from like the 2000s. I like that
Oh,
movie.
the original is even more insane. Like the remake actually has a story. This one just is like, nah. It's just like it's like kind of like they're like all zombies, except they're all like gang members just attacking this police, station. But like, yeah, there's a lot of good ones. That's why I highly recommend. Obviously, my number one, John Carpenter is the thing.
Yeah, if James was still here, I think you would agree because I think he's the one who told me. He's like, Neo, you got to watch the thing. It's great. I was like, maybe I will at some point.
It's with like it's great. You should watch it. I don't know. I think it might take you a few watches because you might get to a couple points where like, all right, I don't want to finish this right now. I'm gonna put it on the back and then go do something. And like, well, it was actually really good. You have to you're breaking up it like a TV show. I would think.
To be fair, that's typically how I watch a movie because I typically don't watch
there you
anything for longer than like 45 minutes, like an episode of Stargate. So if it's a movie,
Oh yeah,
it'll probably take me, 2 or 3 watchings to get through it, anyways. But
it's great though.
So, dude was wondering, Carl, if you've ever heard of or watched the anime called Parasite: The Maxim.
Yeah, I've read the manga. I think it's okay. That's the best way to say it. I didn't hate it, but I just got bored and dipped out halfway through.
I'm assuming it's somewhat similar to the thing, and that's why he's asking. I have no idea what that is, and I've never heard of it.
Basically, parasites take over people's bodies, and they have to kill and eat people and stuff. And the basic premise. It's been a while. I
So
don't
The
remember
Last
the
of
full
Us?
story. No, not even
Okay.
close. But like the guy gets infected with a parasite. He stops it from taking over his brain, so it just takes over his hand instead.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that brings it to you, Filter, to finish off our number 1 spooky movies.
Okie dokie. Well, I'm kind of following Carl here a little bit in the vein of John Carpenter. And hey, with the spooky season, I got my number 1 being Halloween.
The original.
Figure, oh, absolutely. Not that freaking.
Sorry for crapping on it earlier.
Oh, whatever. No, I mean, hey, everybody's got their, their preferences, and I riff on movies I love to this day. So people whatever. I don't.
Yeah, obviously my favorite movie of all time is The Matrix. When, as I mentioned earlier, pitch meetings. When he did pitch meeting for The Matrix, it was freaking hilarious. I loved it.
And I mean, yeah, I love like Back to the Future and Bill and Ted, and even though, especially Bill and Ted being a comedy, I question and critique and rip apart the time travel stuff. So it's like I love it, but I kind of question something. But no, yeah, Halloween, and hey, I mean, we've got even a guest appearance of William Shatner via The Mask and everything.
Is that true?
Allegedly.
Okay, I was like, I've heard that so many times, but it's one of those things. Like, I don't know if it's like an.
I mean, at
urban
this
myth
point,
that
it
just-
could be. Yeah, it's such a repeated meme at this point, so I'll take it as fact because I think it's pretty funny, the idea of a William Shatner mask wearing guy going about killing dumb horny teenagers. I mean, but I mean, I think it would, especially just sets this movie apart too, is like the soundtrack, the synthwave soundtrack that Carpenter did for it. Just adds to the mood, adds to the spookiness, adds to the creepiness to it as Michael stalks and kills these kids and everything. And yeah, like I think you guys kind of we brought it up earlier before the stream of Michael, at the end, just when Lori thinks she's got him, does basically the Undertaker sit up. And then he's still coming. One way he's still going after her, and you got God, now I'm forgetting his Donald Pleasance, who's playing Loomis, the character that's been trying to stop Michael throughout the whole darn thing. But I mean, Pleasance is amazing in this. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis's big start for movies and all that jazz, but it's the mood, the setting. I just kind of stick to it as kind of the single movie. The second one isn't bad. I like the idea of them turning anthology with 3. Like, I think that could have been a neat idea if they stuck with it, but hey, I get it. Everybody
It was supposed to be an anthology series, but the first movie did so well that they made it a direct sequel.
Right.
And
so
also,
I
want to say one thing. And I think Jason will have to agree with me here a little bit.
Finish, but
no, but this is what this movie is supposed to take place in Illinois. And it messed me up for the longest time as a kid because their lockers are outside.
What?
And I'm like, where in Illinois do they have their lockers outside?
Oh, Illinois, because it's probably freaking cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Yes, it was filmed in California.
No, that explains. Yeah, my lockers in high school were outside.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
See, we have this thing called winter here in Illinois. And,
what is winter?
Exactly. So, like growing up, I was like a little kid, and like my sister was like, "Yeah, it takes place in Illinois." And I'm like, "Why are there lockers outside? What school do they go to where there are lockers outside?"
It's funny. Carl's fixated on the lockers being outside.
I was 7, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, "What do you mean the lockers are outside?" It's just like
that was like one. I guess it's because I used to live in California, so like the idea of lockers being outside that didn't occur to me. That was like the last detail that was like, wait, what's up with this?
Oh yeah, no, because this is what it. I mean, if it was set in Illinois, this is what would happen. There would be a lot of wind. There would be a lot of dead leaves blowing around, and yeah, you have about 2 more weeks until everybody's not wearing that clothing because it's gonna be just starting to get super cold,
Super
or
cold.
you
yeah.
never know because it could be 100 degrees the next day because weather here just does not know what it wants to do.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
Talk
No,
about bipolar weather. Jeez.
Oh yeah,
usually-
that's
It's the worst.
it usually stays summer here until about 2 weeks before Halloween, and right on cue, like last week, it dropped like 20 degrees, and now it actually feels like fall.
Yeah.
So for us here, we had
Fall.
frost warning. We had frost warnings 2
Yeah, it went
weeks
from
ago.
100. It's now in the low 80s.
Yeah, we had
Oh my
frost
God.
warnings 2 weeks ago. Now we're at 75 today.
Yeah, we're
So-
going to be in the 70s, then it's going to drop to the 60s, then it'll shoot up to 70s. Like, I had to put my heat on because it got down to like, what,
Mhm.
31 this week?
I have
last
my
week?
heat, I have my heat set to 72, but as you can look in my background, I still have an AC unit there because who knows what the weather's gonna do.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
For us here, it's now dropped to the 40s and stuff like that, and it's staying or in that area for.
Yeah, we don't get that.
And we don't know what this is.
Dude is saying, I went to public school in Virginia. What is this outside locker system?
Yeah, so in California, they have this thing called one season. So they
Pretty
can build
much.
their lockers outside because it doesn't rain and it doesn't
rained.
do anything.
It rains a couple days a year.
That doesn't count. Yeah, that's why I said it was like the weirdest thing to me. Still, I'm sorry for derailing this conversation,
No,
but
it's hilarious.
It's
I love it.
fine.
but like I said, it's like this movie is supposed to take place in Illinois, and as a person from Illinois, just seeing
Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Even like living, going to
Illinois
school
is
down
right
south
next
Illinois.
to Illinois, Timon. Yeah, they're sister states.
Yeah, and even going to school down south in Illinois, like even down Champaign further south, it still would be no Haddonfield, right? Haddonfield.
Yeah.
I always get the T's and the D's. I can remember how it's fairly pronounced.
Listen, our state actually goes farther south than Richmond, Virginia, in some parts of it, all right? And we still don't have lockers outside even down there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jason dropped a link for you guys to check out on the authenticity of the mask for Halloween.
Oh,
So, in the private chat, and it looks. I would say that Urban Myth
Confirms
checks
it?
out. Yeah, it pretty much confirms it. They look pretty much
they
identical.
just
Myth
modified it a
confirmed.
bit. Yeah.
Confirmed. Yeah. And Halloween. So, how many Halloween movies are there?
Oh,
17.
Christ.
Depending on which timeline you're going through.
Are you? There actually are 17? Because that sounds about right. Or are you just throwing out a random number, hoping it's right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's like,
1,
yes.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 12.
Did you count the Rob Zombie ones?
I did.
And did you count the remakes?
I did because that's
And
part of
this-
the main timeline because it goes 1, 2, then there's the H2O timeline, then there's 1, 2, the new ones, and then there's one down there. There's the Rob Zombie ones there, and I think there's 2 here. So
Okay, so
1,
there's
2,
8 of the originals, then there's
Yep.
the 2 Rob Zombie, and
and
then there's 3 of the David
13.
Gordon Green movies.
So we got 13.
I was
Yeah.
off by 1.
Are we counting Halloween 3?
Yeah, I'm counting Halloween 3.
So yeah, so I guess Jason might have
13.
skipped over 3.
Okay.
But
no,
if you want to,
I missed one.
Oh, okay.
I missed one, but yeah, I counted 3 because I'm like,
I was
there's
gonna-
one over in the corner. I always call it the anthology corner, the Rob Zombie 2, and then it kind of goes like this.
It's all over the road.
Jason in real time is doing the Charlie Day meme from Always Sunny with the
Yeah.
board.
Who's
behind
Pepe
all the
Silva?
lines.
I mean, I get it. It gets goofy with some of these timelines.
I just go. There's just 2.
You know what?
Yeah,
I I forgot. I know which movie I forgot too. I forgot Halloween Resurrection. So there's my 13.
yeah. That's what I counted.
That's the 13th. That's the 13th movie I missed.
So it
Unlucky
sounds like
13.
you guys. It sounds like you guys are pretty well versed in the Halloween franchise. Was my perception of the one that I saw, which I think was H2O,
Age of
is that
Sex.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I think I heard that the general consensus on that one is that it's terrible.
Was
Yeah, it's-
H2O the sequel to the other one?
Yeah, H2O was what they called the 20 years later, which was supposed to be like a more of a direct sequel to the original two. And
Yeah.
they skipped over all the other ones that they did. And
Yes, that sounds right from what the people who I watched it with were saying.
They
Yeah,
like
they-
sequel rebooted it, as I like to say. The C-boot.
they just kind of ignored the in-betweens and just focused on the Jamie Lee Curtis ones because they brought her back. That was kind of her first return to the series.
That sounds yes, that is ringing a lot of bells. So I'm pretty sure it's H2O that I saw.
And it was like at a private school or something like that.
That sounds right.
And ends with him getting decapitated, and yet somehow comes back in Halloween Resurrection.
Kills Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep.
Kills Jamie Lee Curtis.
He finally gets his revenge.
He finally did it.
He did it, boys.
But we can't forget about H2O, where I think it was Busta Rhymes fights Michael
That's
Myers.
Resurrection.
Is that H2O2?
That is?
That's Resurrection, yeah.
Oh god, that's probably why I forgot about it. But
you
then
blocked that one out.
I blocked it out, and then that's probably why I blocked it out. That's why I said there was 12, and now you were talking about it. That's why now it just came to me like, oh god, what?
Yeah, they like kill Laurie Strode off in like the beginning of that movie, and then it's like this weird and it's like this weird reality show thing that goes on, and Busta Rhymes.
Oh my god, I forgot about that part of it. Yeah,
Busta Rhymes, I think does like some drop kick to Michael and stuff. I don't know. It's weird. I only am aware of what happens. I have not actually watched the stupid movie. I am just aware of some of the stuff that goes on. But I have seen H2O 1, 2, and 3 for sure.
Wait, so there really is an H2O2? Or does it have a different name than that?
Not technically, no. But there's a sequel to H2O, yes.
Okay, I was going to say it was H2O2. That'd be kind of funny,
right? And I haven't watched the other new reboot sequel ones from 2018 and on.
The first one was okay.
That's what I heard.
It ends tonight.
Yeah.
Another shout out to pitch meetings, because he just did a pitch meeting on the latest Halloween movie just like a couple days ago, and he emphasized that in the pitch meeting a number of times.
They say way too much in that movie.
That's probably why.
Oh god,
I couldn't watch those movies. I'm like, I'm done. There's only 2 Halloween movies, 1 and 2, and third one is you can throw in there because it's actually good.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up, unless anyone has anything else they want to say about the Halloween franchise.
No, but I will say this was really fun. It just makes me think of other movies that we could have talked about. Like 30 Days a Night is one of those movies I just remembered now that I would like to talk about another time.
And I just need to watch more. Like I actually like sit down, because like I've always caught bits and pieces, like especially of like a lot of the Alfred Hitchcock movies. Which
oh my goodness, I forgot about all those too.
I know. I meant to bring them up during honorable mentions. It completely left my brain. But yeah, like Psycho, The Birds, and stuff
Birds
like
is
that.
Great.
I've never seen any of those Hitchcock movies, but when the first time I heard about The Birds, I was like, how is that a scary movie? It's seagulls.
Oh man,
it's all birds. It's like every flying creature that can come at you, they do.
Yeah.
I think what makes them scary is it's like if Mother Nature or just anything decided, like, you know what, we're tired of these humans kind of just doing this, and they all decided to come after us, we don't realize how screwed we could possibly be. I mean, granted, yes, there's certain ways, but like there's a lot of animals that could just come at us
without us realizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And think about this too, is like, because a lot of it, because it's Hitchcock, he's very good about imagery and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And this is also like stuff that you could see in real life. And just think of this picture of this is like how at any time, if you've ever seen on like power lines, just a big cluster of birds just hanging
staring
out
at you.
up there, just just hanging out, staring at you. But then
Birds
in that
aren't real.
instant, you
They're all drones by the government.
They're all government drones.
well, you just deflated my whole thing. All right, fine. Birds aren't
The
Well,
real.
it's
birds are just.
They're all
the best part is
conspiracy.
just. Yeah, the birds are actually the alternate take would be the birds just be like they actually have voices. You can hear them talking about you as you're walking to your car.
They call a group of crows a murder for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a murder of crows. No, but like, yeah, it's just all these other horror movies that I keep thinking about now. Just obviously, like I said, the classic horror movies, the black and white days, a lot of the 80s and 70s.
You could do a top 5 like classic horrors, like before I don't know 1980 or 1970.
Oh, that would be such a great one. Wicker Man would have to make that list. The original Wicker Man.
You'd definitely have to. I'm sure we'd have to get James on that one as well.
I would love to do that. I could just wax poetic about all the classic horror movies, even some of the like more thriller ones too. Like, have you ever heard of The Audition?
I know the band The Audition. I don't know.
Are you talking about the 90s one, right?
The Japanese one, yeah.
Oh yeah, that movie's holy crap.
That movie is wild with a capital W.
Yeah. Let's just say you think that the person. Well, let's just say that's one of the movies that you're kind of happy the killer. What's the best way? Like, I'm trying to describe it. Like, the killer is actually not the creep, and you're kind of not rooting for that person at the end of the movie, but you're like, damn, that person chose the wrong person to mess with.
Once you kill a dog, you're dead to me. I hope you die.
So, yeah. So looking at just going over the thumbnail, because I just picked iconic horror movie villains. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on there, and only 2 of them were on people's lists, and that was the girl from The Ring and Michael Myers, who I think I mentioned this on last top 5 when we talked about spooky games. How I didn't, like I said, this isn't my genre, so I had no idea who Michael Myers was. And when someone, the people I watched H2O with, and they were talking about Michael Myers, I thought they were talking about Mike Myers, like from Austin Powers. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Because I didn't know who Michael Myers was at the time. So,
yeah,
there was Michael Myers, bro.
There was a time where I got the names mixed up too.
They made it.
Like,
I brought this up on an episode of Top 5. I don't remember. I could go back and look and figure. I don't remember what episode it was, but someone brought this movie up. I can go figure it out. But someone on one of our top 5, someone brought up the movie Baby Driver, and they make that joke in Baby Driver because they say, "Go get us Michael Myers mask," and he comes back with Mike Myers mask. Because I was like, I get that, because I would have done the same thing. So, and dude poses an excellent question: what if you kill a dog in self-defense?
Self-defense is different.
Okay, I would agree. So,
I still wouldn't like doing it.
Right? Yeah, yeah, I totally get it. So, all right. Well, I think that will wrap up.
Quick question.
Oh, yeah, go for it before we wrap up.
Which rapper made the best cameo in a horror movie?
Rapper. I don't know very many.
Put me on a spot right now. I don't know.
yeah,
One of the movies I wanted to put on my list has a rapper in it, but I wouldn't. It's spooky-ish, but I wouldn't really call it spooky, and it's not a cameo because he survives at the end of the movie. So, and that was LL Cool J in Deep Blue Sea.
You son of a bitch! I was going to say that.
That's not a cameo, though.
I was gonna say, I was also thinking when you brought that up, I was like, oh, Anaconda, because Ice Cube.
Oh, Ice Cube was the main character though. It's not a cameo.
I consider that a cameo.
Okay. But yeah, I do love Deep Blue Sea. That's a great cheesy.
That's a good fun shark movie.
That movie scares me.
There was some
Smart
freakiness
sharks.
to that one too.
Or
Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson makes a big passionate speech about everybody surviving. Then that freaking shark just jumps up out of nowhere.
I think I mentioned this on last top 5 as well, but I remember one time, this was like in high school, we were talking about movies where the black guy dies first, and I was like, wait a minute, LL Cool J survived to the end of Deep Blue Sea, and someone's like, there had to been someone else. I thought about it. I'm like, yep, Sam Jackson died first.
Yeah.
No, he didn't die first.
He wasn't the first one that died though.
No,
he did die, but he
died early on. So
I think it was like number 2, 3.
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
No,
he's
he-
like the second or third death or something.
No,
like that.
so it was the first the scientist that got his arm bitten off. Then it was
Yep.
no,
That's
the
right.
helicopter pilot technically was the first to die,
Oh,
and then the lady in the
that's
tower
right.
was the second. I guess they were the first 2.
They weren't even killed directly by the sharks. It was by the incidents of the helicopter crashing.
Yeah, which was caused by the shark though.
True,
Yeah.
but like I said, a little more indirectly of that, they weren't eaten by the shark.
Samuel L. Jackson lasted quite a bit, that's for sure.
He did last a good while until he got eaten.
It was like halfway point of the movie.
Timon
Ice
chose
Cube
the actor because I couldn't remember if he was for sure in it, but I'm gonna go Ice
Ghost
Cube
of
and
Mars.
Anaconda.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Ghosts of Mars.
I'm gonna say Ice Cube and Anaconda though for me.
Okay.
I was like, wait, was he in that movie? He wasn't in that movie. He had to be in the movie,
Owen Wilson was in that movie too, and I find that just to be so weird.
right?
Oh no, I was thinking of a different movie. I've not.
You had
seen
Owen
Ghosts of
Wilson
Mars.
and Ice Cube in the same movie together, and it was about a giant anaconda.
Oh,
And
that's
Jennifer
right.
Lopez was in that too. I think.
Yeah,
you had
Jennifer
John-
J-Lo survived at the end too, and John
Yeah, you
Voight
had-
was in it.
This
John
is a weird thing to think about. Like Anaconda had like actual actors and like Ice Cube.
Oh,
It was
and
just like
Danny,
a weird collection of actors.
yeah,
I know.
Danny Trejo was in it as well.
Was he really? I forgot
He
about
was?
that.
Big name. That's a. Man, I'm not sure I've actually seen it in its entirety. I think I've only seen it in bits and pieces. But yeah, that is such a big name cast for such a ridiculous movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, I will say this.
Oh.
I like the Stephen King movies a lot more than the books.
I can see that.
That's fair.
I can see that. He can like his books are just very like wordy because he wants to set up everything, and where you get a movie and it's easy to not just have to describe it. You can mess with whatever kind of thing. That's why sometimes a lot of his movies, Stephen King doesn't, or a lot of the movies that get added tips from his books, he doesn't like them because it's not his kind of direction kind of thing. Again, like The Shining, but he just writes good stuff. So
Yeah,
My
I heard
fa-
like with The Shining, King preferred the made-for-TV movie version because it was more accurate to the book. I guess.
book, yep.
My favorite Stephen King cameos in Maximum Overdrive when his ATM machine calls him an asshole.
I like it.
So, and I will actually check out. Thanks to you, Fractured. I'm going to check out. I don't know when, but I will watch it at some point. Is Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Oh,
yes, please do.
So I'll check this out at some point.
Please do.
yeah,
I've never seen that movie.
So
it's
should watch
good
it.
fun. It's
You
good
both should
fun.
watch it.
yeah, I'm watching the trailer just with no audio right now, and it looks funny.
It
Yes.
does look funny. I just for some reason was like, this also looks stupid, and I just didn't want to watch it.
So, but yeah, all right. Well, that I think will wrap us up for episode 19 of Top 5. So appreciate you guys coming on. I'm glad you were able to make most of it, Carl. As
problem.
always, fun hanging out with you guys. So we'll go around the horn and let you guys plug whatever you got going on. Oh, sorry.
Before we do that.
I forget almost every time. Thank you, Jason. Go ahead
Yep.
and before we wrap up, Jason's going to give us what is our standing on Top 5 spooky movies.
So the number 5 for us. I'm gonna do a little addendum to some of the rules, just because we saw what Carl put as his first one, and it was in some of our honorable mentions as well. But because he took it off where it was at, kind of thing. But I'm gonna put Evil Dead 2 as number 5, because if he would have been on the list, it would have been on the list no matter what. And again, it was on a lot of our honorable mentions too. So instead of putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies at number 5, I'm just gonna be like, you know what, Evil Dead 2 had a little bit more substance on it, so I'm putting that at number 5. And then there was a tie for number 2 with The Thing, Halloween, and Identity. So that would be our next tier. And then number 1, because it was only on 2 people's lists, and that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is number 1.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. So, all right. Well, thank you for that as always. And one other thing I want to mention before we wrap up here is I have to give a shout out to everybody in chat because they selected the right answer. Kate Beckinsale is winning in Van Helsing, 73% to 27% Underworld. So, all right. Well, with that, we'll let everyone shout out what they got going on. Fractured, what do you want to plug?
Well, tomorrow night I'll be joining the Boo Ghost over here as we discuss Dave the Diver, spoiler cast, all the spoiler stuff involving that game and probably whatever other shenanigans. Looking forward to that. And just check out and see whatever the heck else I might be doing tomorrow. I might do a gaming stream of some more Vampires the Masquerade beforehand in the morning or something. And then of course, Thursday night, weekend pregame, but it'll be pushed to 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Mountain Time. I hate static for this. But he's moving it to a little bit of a later time just so everybody can get on time and stuff, get in on for the chat and all that jazz. So, and I don't know what he has planned this week, but hey, check it out. And then Friday I'll be on Dermy Wormy's Ballbusters, my first appearance on that show, so that's
all right.
fun. And I think I'll be staying up for Devil Made Me Do It's open bar.
That Beelzebub.
Yeah, Beelzebub. Sorry, I got things mixed
late
up.
Nighter. Yeah, open
yeah,
bar.
I'll be chugging down a lot of energy drinks that day. And I'll have to wait and hear from Hitman if we're gonna be doing Saturday Night Sith. Otherwise, I might just do another gaming stream. And otherwise, that is all I can think of for the time being.
All right. So I dropped the link to Fracture's channel there. If anyone isn't already subscribed, go check him out. He's a great dude.
Much appreciated.
Unfortunately, his co-host on Saturday Night Sith is not. He never responds to me ever. Going on 2 months now. I told
him to reply to you.
So yeah, I was just looking at the my original message to him, and it was like at the end of August. Like,
if Carl wants to talk about, get frustrated with boomer people with technology and stuff like that, my co-host is very much in that category, and he's younger than I am, so he's very much in the boomer tech category. But I mean, at the same time, I kind of get it. I've told people that I've helped at work and stuff. It's like, I wish I don't know the things that I do. I wish I was just as oblivious, because technology can just be evil sometimes. So
technology evil? No.
I look forward to connecting with him eventually.
Yeah, I'll have to remind him again.
Oh, and yeah, sorry, Timon, to disappoint. It says no Conjuring, a sham. I say a sham.
Hey, we still had some good picks, though. You gotta at least give us.
We all got
The Conjuring's not good. That's why.
We both have a hot take right there.
It's not a hot take. It's the truth.
I haven't seen The Conjuring, so I cannot speak for it.
It's one of those movies that, like, it sounds better, like, when you're a kid, and then when you get older, you're like, wow, this really wasn't that great. What was I thinking?
Those rose-tinted glasses.
I'm being the hater tonight. I gotta fill in.
All right, Carl, what do you got going on?
Well, as Mr. Fractured said, tomorrow we are going to be doing a Dave the Diver spoiler cast, or a retrospective. I think I have it labeled as retrospective. So there you go. I'm going to go with retrospective. And then Thursday, I will be back as well solo for a game stream. I'm going to be playing a game called Blood Will Tell for Monster Madness. It's a licensed anime game from Sega. It's a hack and slasher kind of interesting concept of a game where the character is born with no body parts really. He's just basically a hollowed out husk, and you have to kill demons to get your body parts back. So there you go. And then Friday. What the heck?
Yeah, booed.
Simone giving you the big boo.
That's fine. It just caught me off guard because
I think he's probably booing both of us on that one.
Boo earns. He's saying Boo earns.
Boo earns.
And then Saturday, I will also have another episode of the RNG show, and joining me will be Pop Culture Mechanic as we break down a part 2 of video game and comic book. Comic book and anime video games, and we're going to talk about our favorite ones and break it down a little bit more in depth for that. And then that's really about it for this week, because Saturday, I'm taking Saturday off because it's my wife and mine's 5th year anniversary. So we're
Congratulations.
having a good time with that one for sure.
Nice.
And I also wanted to say one more thing. Shout out to my mother, because she's going to be a great grandmother.
Whoa!
I know.
Is like from you or one of your siblings?
Well, obviously not from me. That would be kind of weird. But my brother, as you know, he is 53 years old, and I'm 33, so my brother's 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
So my niece, she's pregnant. There you go.
Oh, cool. Well, congratulations to Mommy Carl.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it blew her mind when she's like, "Oh, your niece is pregnant." I'm like, "Wow, you're gonna be a great grandmother." She's like, "Oh shit, I didn't even think about that."
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to my mom.
Cool stuff.
Cool.
Man. Good stuff. So, and dude over on Rumble reminded me that Fractured does also have a Rumble channel, so I just dropped that in the chat as well. So if you want to go check out Fractured Filter on Rumble, you can go check him out there. And that's where, when he does a Saturday Night Sith, you can actually watch the full episode of Stargate that they watch afterwards, because YouTube doesn't like you.
Doesn't even like the noise. Like even I have it turned down, and it's like they caught that stuff. So like I said, once I hit season 2, it was suddenly like everything started getting struck. I'm like, well, not struck, but like it was kept giving me
copyright
errors,
warnings.
Yeah, the copyright notifications and stuff. Well, like, fine, I'll just go to Kick and Rumble.
I'll take my ball and play somewhere else then.
Exactly. I'll just switch off to Kick, Rumble, and Odyssey, because they don't yell at me for this stuff, at least not yet.
Yeah.
I'll leave this well-established site and go to the slums.
Exactly. I'll slum it up.
Yeah, Carl's got he's got some history with Rumble.
Oh, I love-hate relationship with Rumble.
I love to hate it.
Exactly.
So, all right, and Jason, do you have anything that you want to plug?
What, we have our last top 5 in 2 weeks for the 2024 year, and then we're going to be taking our break. Right? In 2 weeks?
No, because we've got 3 more top 5s.
Oh, do we? I thought we only had 2 more.
2 in November. And then the first one in December.
No, I forgot we're doing that one in December. Sorry. My brain is, as you can see, my brain's all over the place. So anyway, we have 3 more for the year. So they got that, and then we'll be having our little break, and then we'll come back with the best of for pretty much like our first season kind of thing. That's about all I have going on. But we'll be talking more about that in the next 3 weeks.
So yeah, the plan as of this moment, I still haven't heard back from them, because there's some people who suggested a topic a while ago, and if anyone suggests a topic and we do that topic, I'd like to offer them a chance to be on the panel. So I reach out to them like, hey, you had mentioned this topic. Do you want to be on this panel? And I haven't heard back from them yet. But anyways, at the moment, our next top 5 on November 5th is the next. Is tentatively going to be top 5 video game movies.
That's great. Yeah. That's
so.
Yeah, I forgot that.
And then on the 19th, the episode after that, we're doing top 5 party members, like video game RPG party members.
I had that one done.
So that is the plan for the next 2 episodes of the top 5. So those will be on the 5th and 19th. The topics may change, but they'll probably be those ones. So
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we'll have one in December, and then we're gonna take a break until January. So
Yep. Our season 1 top 5 will be over. We'll call it.
yeah. So as for myself, I will be back again tomorrow night with Dude doing Dude Souls, and the last few episodes have, for the most part, have gone pretty well. I've run into some rage-inducing moments, but overall, I would say, well, definitely. The last 2 episodes have been far better than the first 2 episodes by far. So those first 2 episodes, the entire thing was rage-inducing. But
so the games are starting to hook you a little bit. It sounds
I
like.
wouldn't say hook, but I have not been hating every minute of it like I did the first 2 episodes.
The claws are starting to get you a little bit, and you're like, oh, this isn't that bad.
No.
Don't see me fall in love with the Dark Souls
One
games,
of
but
us.
speaking of Hot Fuzz, but yeah, so we'll be back with another episode of Dude Souls tomorrow night, and let's see here, where did we left off? We just Dude is coaching me, and we just finished ringing the second bell, so the giant opened the door to this castle, and I went in just to see what it was, and I got my crap kicked in by a couple of these like snake serpent guards. So that's where I am at the moment. So and then Thursday night, no open mic. What I will be doing is I will be doing my next gaming roulette stream, where we let the roulette wheel decide what I play, and I will be catching up on, because if you don't know, any tip that I get goes on my next roulette stream, kind of like, basically shamelessly ripping off James and his Steam roulette. But for me, it's just gaming roulette, because games, most of them are Xbox games, but I got games on Steam and retro achievements and other platforms, not all Xbox. So it's just gaming roulette. But anytime I get a tip, it adds a gifted game, it adds a spin to my upcoming roulette stream. And I haven't done one since July, so I have a lot of stuff to catch up on. So it'll be a few hours of gaming fun. And the only exception to that so far, because like James, he does it. It has to be tips during Steam Roulette. For me, it's just anytime I get if I got a tip right now, it would go on this Steam Roulette. Except for something I started on last night's Mass Effect Monday. Mass Effect Monday tips are just for Mass Effect Monday, but anytime else, they'll go on the next roulette stream. And so I had a lot of fun playing Mass Effect last night. I added a new twist to it, and it made it quite entertaining. And I'm looking forward to doing Mass Effect Monday next month to see what happens. So
yes, and I'll be joining you for those ones.
Yeah. So the plan is, if anyone, I do Mass Effect Monday once a month, and it's open to anybody who wants to join. And the plan for the next Mass Effect Monday is November 18th. So we may have a full party. Carl's going to join me, and my buddy Rozik, he said that I'm going to do it on the 18th because he said he could join on the 18th. So I think I had a couple other people who expressed interest in joining for the 18th, for November. So we may have a full party, but let me know. And if we don't have a full party, you're definitely welcome to join. So
yeah, because next month I'm doing Mass Effect November, so
yes,
I'll be playing Mass Effect all month.
Yeah, and just to early shout that out, Carl's Mass Effect retrospective will be on the 20th of November. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, the original release date.
Yep, yeah, the anniversary of the original release date. I forgot about that, even though we talked about that like 3 times now.
Yeah, I've been doing, like, not to kind of just keep this going on, but like November, apparently I'm doing a lot of retrospectives on the original release dates on most of these games.
Yeah, because you also have one the week before on the 15th for Halo.
We have to postpone that by a day, but I will be playing Halo that day just to kind of make up for it.
Okay, nice.
And I also have one for a Gears of War retrospective coming up at that time too.
Okay, cool. So, and then let's go back to this month. So, yeah, Gaming Roulette on Thursday, and then I will be back to a Metroidvania Monday next Monday, and then the next episode of Party Chat will be next Tuesday. So, and right here at the end, we have another new face that I have not seen before, Benjamin, the Marvel and DC fan, saying hello. Hello, Benjamin. Yeah, we're about wrapping up here. But we had a fun time ranking our favorite spooky movies. So definitely give it a rewatch from the beginning if that sounds interesting to you.
Please do.
Welcome, and hope you have a good time and enjoy yourself. And maybe I'll see you back next time. So, me and Adam saying, just don't get your face tired. That was Mass Effect Andromeda. Even though I am a defender of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh boy.
But with that, that'll do it for this episode of Top 5. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. You guys are always a blast to talk to. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys and talking to you as always. And everyone in chat, appreciate you hanging out. Whether you were here for over 3 hours or whether you're here for 3 minutes, appreciate you just coming and hanging out with us and sharing your time with us. So we will see you all next time. And in the meantime, as always, game on.
Boy.